less than a minute, I am going on mute.
안녕하세요. 저는 ZakuAurelius입니다. 여러분은 지금 에어 메카 라이브 보고 계십니다.
Hey, good evening guys, what's up? Happy Saturday, my name is Ariel and you're watching AO Mecha Live. Tonight is our Spotlight episode. Guest starring tonight, you've probably seen his work in YouTube. He's one of the biggest names in Gunpla review, Mecha sci-fi model kits review. That's right, Zach Rensberger is joining us tonight. ZakuAurelius is our guest for the Season 3 finale of AO Mecha Live. So I just want to say hi to everybody that is tuning in tonight, everybody both on YouTube and on Twitch. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful evening tonight. So quick recap, last week we started the last Backlog Builder episode, well, kit for the episode, and whoops. Let's lower that a little bit. New track is playing in the background for audio ammo. We're going to continue with that build as well this coming Monday and Wednesday for the season finale for Backlog Builder. But tonight is our season 3 finale, and I can't believe it's already over. I know season 3 felt like it went by so fast. And we're gonna recap a bit of who our guest was that made season 3 an amazing season yet again. But first off, I just want to say hi to people that are joining us over here on YouTube. I see Dark Trinity, Mech Talk, Tom L, Early Gang, what's up? Ryan Lau, Kev Models, hi Uncle Kev, Gunpla Tapti, Azius Mecha Models, Che Ling, Operation Stardust. Let's see here. Nicholas Ciada Sanchez is joining us. Gunpla Joey, Ben Voigt, William Weems is joining us as well here, and Edsel Reyes, and more people are coming in. So guys, welcome to the show. Before we bring out our guest, Zach Rensberger, aka Zach Rensberger. I can't believe he's here because he's like an awesome person. You've probably seen his reviews, countless of reviews. You probably have seen his reviews so many times that like you almost go to default to him just because he has been on top of almost all the early releases and very thorough with his reviews. So again, we're going to be joining him in a bit. But before we get to that, we're going to do a recap of season 3 and all of our guests. Okay guys, so starting off season 3 this year was our season 3 episode 1 guest Adrian Damar, aka Mech Diver, Indonesian GBWC champion. Up next was Mike Silbor at episode 2, Mike S 5186. Check him out guys, his LED game is on point. And the lovely Meg Mayakawa joined us as episode 3 of season 3. That was a fun episode again. that was a wild episode as well. So many things happening in the background with that one. Chris Lim, The Saintism was episode 4. Awesome conversation with him. His photography is on point, and I can't wait to chat with him again on future projects. Joey Simmons, aka Flex McGee, aka at Gunpla Joey, was episode 4. Let's see here. Oh, he was episode 5. Anyways, Taz Gamble at Plamotherapist was our episode 6 this year, and that was really, really cool of him to share with us his process, his background. Awesome guy to be with, and we're actually launching a future podcast, so keep an eye out for that, guys. Episode 7 was France Annunciation, aka Squirtle Militia, winner of the Clean versus Weathered, hosted by our guest tonight, ZakuAurelius. And check his work out, guys. Awesome stuff. Episode 8, Justin Tan, aka Studio G, joined us for a bit to chat with his projects, and all of his background knowledge was so amazing to get a chance to know and hear about. So that was cool. And episode 9 last week, the mysterious, the most creative foods inspired model kit customs around, all the way from Colony 69, the Flavor Colony. Zagyuk Fieri at Gunpla joined us, and we got a chance to talk about his work, his customs, and POV. And lastly tonight, guys, our special guest for the season ender, Zach Rensberger, joining us here. ZakuAurelius is joining us tonight. So that being said, let's just go see if hang on, bring it back to me, guys, first. Guys, welcome to the show, and again, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see who's on the chat right now. I see Riot over here at Twitch, Delta Saber, MechTac51, Neon Wave, Rani is in the house too, and Mecha Skyfish. Tigress is here, all the way in the YouTube land. Let's see here. Nicolas Seada Sanchez, we talked to him. Michael Rinaldi is here joining us. Scale Modeler Eric is here. Let's see here. Edsel and Kyo. Mecha is here. Wow, it's a great season of spotlights. Where did time go? I know it went by so fast, guys. Anyways, why don't we bring in our guest? You've probably seen him, again, an awesome individual, all the way out in Korea. Let's bring a warm hand and welcome to Zach Rensberger. Hey, Zach.
Hey.
Good morning.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Well,
do I have a chance to say some hellos as well too? There's some friends of mine there.
Absolutely. Let's put him on the big screen. You are on screen now, Zach.
Hey, it's just me and hey, Mike. Just personal friends of the show. I think both Mikes, Skyfish and Rinaldi. Both of them. Who else was there? You said William was there. William Wilmus. He was there with us, with Nico, in that video in Tokyo. So if you're wondering who that other guy was, that was with us. That's William. He was there.
Awesome.
What's going on, William? And and Nico as well. Hey, man, miss you.
Nicolas Seada Sanchez. Oh man, I haven't seen that guy in like a couple of weeks now. Because obviously lockdown and all. But yeah, welcome
and Ryan
to
Lau.
And Ryan Lau, yep. Ryan is here all the way from I guess our it's like our prairies area of Canada. So he's definitely someone I would like to meet as well, fellow Canadian here. Awesome. You have so many fans from all over the country and friends as well that follow you. Amazing work. Congratulations on a very successful YouTube channel and successful YouTube career.
Thank you.
Wow. That journey must have been an interesting one. I'm sure a lot of people might be interested in that. But before we get to that, do you mind, for those who might not know you as well as others, as they should be anyways, maybe do a little bit of background, kind of brief on who was Zach before YouTube?
Sure. Before YouTube?
Yeah.
Before YouTube. Well,
before he was manufactured by Bandai.
Yeah. I was a skateboarder. Then I was a bassist in like a kind of post-hardcore metalcore kind of band. And then I was a filmmaking major in college.
Okay.
Digital filmmaking major, and then I came to Asia, and I was an English teacher, and then it was here that I kind of rediscovered my love of Gunpla, basically.
Nice.
And then that led to this eventually, after a few more years of teaching there in between, but it's kind of worked our way to this. But yeah.
Wow, what a journey! And thank you for
this. TLDR.
So I know it was like, wow, it went from like a totally almost like a different scale of the rainbow, if you will, all the way to what you're doing now. But do you remember what it was like when you were doing your first? What was your first kit that got you back into it? Do you remember what that one was?
Oh, that got me back into it. It wasn't so much first kit; it was first mountain of kits that got me back into it, because I had a few kits when I was young, like when the tsunami thing was going on in America.
Right.
And then I got out of it while I was in high school. Like I said, that was the time when I was just skating and playing in a band and girlfriends and all that. It just fell by the wayside. So then later in college, between my third and fourth year, so like the last summer vacation of college, I took a trip to Tokyo with my then girlfriend. And well, like all around Japan, actually, we traveled quite a bit, but in Tokyo specifically, was my first time there in Japan, and that was 2009, and just bought a bunch of stuff. We went to Akihabara and bought a bunch of stuff, and then had to end up like lugging that all like to the post office, and like it was just terrible because it was hot. Yeah. It was like July, so it was like terrible Tokyo heat. And my poor girlfriend was like just going with me. First of all, like going around in all the shops and everything, and then having to help me like lugging my Gunpla to like we had to find a post office, and of course, like I'm sure I paid way too much for the postage because I don't remember, but I'm sure I didn't send it by surface mail. I probably just was like so amateur, and I was like, okay, I'll just send it back, and it's probably like $100. I don't know. Oh, no. But what I do remember some of the kits that I bought. I know at that time that was right when the Shinanju came out, I believe. So I bought the Unicorn and the Shinanju Verka, and those were awesome because like those were both of them had just come out pretty recently, so they were everywhere, like all around Akihabara, and it was so cool to see them. I had no idea. I had not seen Unicorn at all yet. I had just seen the models, so I bought those. I bought like the HG Goof Flight type, I remember. And I don't know, maybe a couple more as well too. But yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, I remember actually the release of Unicorn Verka, because like I think I built a couple of Verka before that, the RX-78 and the Wing before that. But after seeing some of the photos online at the time, again, I don't think I was following anyone that was like, you know, reviewing it as excessive, or even like right now with multiple access of reviewers from all over the world. Like you're not gonna get it. It's such a rare kind of like almost a niche hobby still at the time. But yeah, Unicorn, I remember that when it came out, and I was like mind blown by like how what the improvements were from the RX-78 all the way to that was. And so you mentioned also that you did some English teaching out in Korea. So that was like, did you learn how to speak Korean as well while you were there, or did you know that was before you arrived?
Well, I studied Japanese in college for 2 years, so I had a pretty good grasp on Japanese, and the grammar is basically the same. So that has helped over the years, but coming here to Korea though, I knew nothing basically. Like on the airplane, like I had a book, and like I tried to learn like a couple of words on the airplane, but like I was so unfamiliar with Korean. Like I'd studied some Korean films and stuff, but like at that time I was, you know, during my filmmaking studies, you know, I wasn't paying that close attention to the language, so I was not familiar with how the language sounds. So it's kind of hard to learn how to say anything if you don't know how the language is like really supposed to sound, you know. So kind of taking your best guess at it. I think probably when I arrived and when I first met my boss, because that's who picked me up at the bus station when I arrived into town, so that the boss of the language school that I was working at, I probably knew how to say hello, but pretty poorly. Yeah, pretty poorly, but that's about it. Yeah, so no, I've learned a lot over the years. I'm still not fluent by any means, but I get
your
by.
Intro was awesome. So when I got that, I didn't get a chance to watch. Like I messaged you, I'm like, oh, thanks for it. I'll look at it tonight, but I was so busy with stuff. I saw it this morning, and I was like floored by, because I'm like, oh my god, do I have to put like subtitles on this? This is amazing. Number one, first international language that we had as an intro, and number two, I think that's the first time we had a face mask in there too, because like it just represents the current times and you know how difficult it is for a lot of people right now. But guys, stay, be strong, guys. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get to your YouTube. Yeah, it is. Like, how are you guys okay there? Like, is it still like full lockdown?
It's getting better though. We still wear masks almost all the time, anytime we're outside or in public. But starting from July 1st, actually, so like next week, if you got the vaccine, even if you only got the first shot of the vaccine, which we did, then you don't have to wear masks outside.
Oh, so interesting.
That'll be nice. That'll be good to at least be able to go around outside without a mask on.
Yeah, so, I had my first shot as well, and we're not as restrictive anymore, but obviously everybody's very cautious still here and all that stuff. I do want to make a quick announcement to everybody that's joining us live both on Twitch and on YouTube. We do have some giveaways tonight, so if you are chatting, your name is automatically entered for 2 giveaways. One, both of them are from our sponsors here. Number 1 from USA Gundam Store, and number 2 from MSMN Gunpla. Gunpla Studio here in Canada. So guys, thank you again. And if you guys have a question for Zach, don't forget to type in question first so I could see it, and I'll have you on cue and we'll try to answer your questions as we proceed. So why don't we get to YouTube again? I guess a lot of people would probably recognize you from obviously your YouTube success. The amount of videos you post like almost daily. I have your notifications, like I get like 2 or 3 things from you a day, and I'm just like, I think it's like my personal alarm clock now that I just wake up to. Early days of YouTube, can we talk about that? Like, what got you, I guess, started with YouTube? Is your current YouTube your first account, or did you have any practice accounts before that?
Good question. Actually, no, it was not. I think it's my third, actually, but the first 2 were not really like for doing YouTube, The first one that I had was just basically like for sharing some of the works that I made when I was in school and when I was a student. So like there's just a couple of like short videos and things like that on there. Nice. And then the other one I made while I was here in Korea for like the first couple of years I was in Korea, and then also while I was living in Japan for a year as well too. And they're just like kind of like travel vlog kind of videos, like travel log, but like very, very boring. But they're mostly just to like show like my family and friends back home, like where I'm going, what I'm doing, stuff. They're not meant like for entertainment necessarily. But you can check them out if you
are they still active, or are they from this account just below?
You can find them. It's just Vlog Verite.
Okay.
If you just search on YouTube Vlog Verite, you should be able to find that. Just videos like from Korea and Japan. If you find that, then that's it. That's mine. You'll probably see me a couple times, but not that much. It's mostly I'm just behind the camera,
filming around. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So early days when you launched your YouTube as a reviewer, were you doing it as kind of like a career path, or was this more of like a hobby that you started with?
Yeah, definitely not a career path. I've mentioned this before in past times, so people may have heard this story before if they follow me closely. But when I first started, like my YouTube channel, I told my wife at the time, I can remember clearly, like I was telling her, like, yeah, there's these other YouTubers who get sponsors, and like sometimes they get kits from their sponsors. I'm like, but I mean, that'd be so cool. But I don't know if I'll ever I don't think I'll ever get to that point, but that would be so cool someday to get that. So, I mean, like that was the thing that I thought was like, people say like you set your goal like extra high so that like, then, when you get close, you feel like pretty good about yourself, or at least you succeeded pretty well, even if you didn't make your goal, that whole kind of thing. It was kind of that. I think like that would have been awesome, but I had no expectation of that, honestly. And if you go back and watch like my very first video, that's literally what the first video was explaining why I started my channel. Yeah. So yeah, I explained in that video very poorly at that time, just because again, I was so uncomfortable with being in front of a camera at the time. It's a really awkward video. But just that I had some kits, like especially like that was when P-Bandai was like just starting going. So like I had a couple of exclusive kits, and I had like some Chinese third-party kits, things like that, stuff that like wasn't getting as much coverage on YouTube. So I thought, I fill that space of reviewing some stuff that was not getting a lot of coverage, and nothing was getting a lot of coverage at that time.
I was gonna say, it's still pretty early with the review days, right?
There wasn't a lot. There was just a few channels, certainly nothing near as many channels as there are now, but that was the main thing. And then also, just sharing my works in progress and stuff that I was working on.
Yep.
So pretty simple. And, obviously it's just like expanded over the years, and like anytime I've just like had an idea, I tried to expand to diversify the content and stuff. And really kind of the two main things that really helped to, I think, boost my channel in those early days was the introduction of doing Gunpla news, because I think I was like the first channel to like really do that as like a regular thing, a sort of news recap video. So that helped me a lot. And then also the first Japan video that I did is still, I'd have to go back and check, but I can assume it's still probably the highest viewed video on my channel is my first Gunpla shopping video, which is actually not in Tokyo. It was actually in Osaka, interestingly enough. But that was a big video that was very popular. So then like once I got to 1,000 subs, then I had a giveaway, and turns out giveaways also help you quite a bit as well too. As like in that time frame of like it was like a 2-week time frame for the giveaway, and like from the start to the end, I think I went from like 1,000 to 2,000 subs like just in that 2 weeks. Just
my god,
it was crazy.
I'm taking notes on that one. We're giving away a PG next, guys. So before season 4 starts, we're gonna do that most likely. We have a couple
again, I think it's a little bit different time though. I think like doing giveaways and stuff like that is a bit more common now. It's at that time, not many there was not many shops, so not enough places to even buy Gunpla. So like just the ability to get your hands on something and then be able to get your hands on it for free had I think more of a draw than it does now, maybe, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely. There's always an allure for like, hey guys, here's a giveaway or free stuff that might be difficult for you to get.
Of course.
Let's do a quick couple of questions here. We have a question on Twitch. Question: What's the first filming gear you used on your early days?
Canon, let's see, would have been 7D, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
It's the camera that I got, with the intention that's what I used like for the vlog videos and stuff that I was making. So that's kind of why I got that camera originally, and then it just became my camera for that. And then what I use now is just
okay.
Well, I use the 7DD now, so just like kind of the later version of that, which is, I don't really like it. I'm planning when we move to the US later, I'm hopefully going to be changing cameras. I'm kind of tired of this one as well now too. I want to get something a little bit nicer.
Upgrades are so much fun, man. Like so all my cameras from when I started off with a cheapo webcam, and then it upgraded to mirrorless that I bought from used people. I'm like I'm just gonna get gear that I could afford at the time, because like I'm just starting off, and then it just kind of snowballed into like 3 cameras now, and I'm looking at full frame as well. So like it can get to a slippery slope once you start getting that path, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like to keep it simple, and I'm not into that kind of stuff at all. So I have no idea what I'm doing as far as like cameras and technology. It's not my forte. So like if I can get just one good camera that I can use for stuff and I'm happy with it, then that'll be fine for me. So
absolutely. And again, guys, you work with the gear that you could use and master, if anything, right? There's a question here on YouTube. I just want to see, I can scroll up a bit. Question for Zach. This is from G Keto. How did you end up teaching English in Korea after studying film?
I think, I don't honestly remember, but I think it was a combination of things. When I was in like early high school, pretty young, I remember like 15 or something. I think it was probably a combination of like the introduction of Toonami, again, like introducing me to like Japanese culture through anime and stuff, which is kind of cringy, but that's just the reality for a lot of us. I think that's how we were introduced to this, through anime. But yeah, so I mean, like I was interested in Japanese culture and stuff, and then like through some movies and stuff that I was watching at the time as well too, other like non-anime things. But and I'd heard about, I don't know how, but I'd heard about teaching in Japan as like a thing that you can do after college. So it was something like even from like when I was 15 or 16 or something, it's something I knew I wanted to do even before I decided what my college major was going to be or where I was going to go to school or whatever. I had kind of already decided that I was going to go teach in Japan after college. So went to college, did all that, and then tried to go to Japan and I wasn't accepted to the job that I applied for.
Oh no.
JET program. If any of you guys are familiar with teaching in Japan, you've probably heard of the JET program. It's kind of the biggest program for bringing in foreign teachers to teach English there. As far as I know, and as far as my professor was concerned, I told you I studied Japanese in school, and my professor actually used to work with the JET program, so she helped me quite a bit with my application. And I mean, I had language experience, travel experience, I'd been to Japan and all that, and I had tutoring experience at my school as well too. But still didn't manage to sink that job. So even though I was, I think, overly qualified, it's a bit of a lottery because I think they get like tons of applications. They get like 2,000 applications to fill like 100 jobs or something. So it's very competitive, but I think I got gypped a little bit, to be honest. But anyway, if you don't get that job, basically the only other way to get a job teaching in Tokyo is you kind of have to go there, or you have to be able to support your own way. Because if you get a job with JET, they'll pay your way and they pay your apartment and everything. So you can go there like with almost no money and you'll be all right. But other jobs is not so much the case. You have to pay your own way and all that. So I didn't have any money. I just graduated college. So I didn't have any money for that. So I found other alternatives to just go to Korea instead. So it was actually kind of like an alternative choice here. And I don't know if it's still the case now, but at least at that time, basically any job that you could get here teaching, they'll pay your way in your apartment and even pay for your cell phone, everything for you.
Wow.
Everything's paid. You could basically come over with like $200 and you'd be fine. You only have to last till your first paycheck. So,
wow. How long did you do teaching though? For that?
So I mean, I came here and I stayed here for 2 years, and then I did get a job in Japan, and so I went over there and worked in Japan for a year at a terrible company. Can I curse?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got a job at a really shit school, and it was just terrible. It was a terrible job, but that's not the reason why I only stayed there for a year. Was not only because of the job. The main reason was because of my wife, who was my girlfriend when I was here before, and then when I went to Japan, we were kind of on again, off again, kind of while we were deciding what we were going to do, whether I was going to stay in Japan or not, basically. But I decided to come back and marry her, basically. It was kind of the gist of it. But I got to have my chance living in Japan. It was awesome. I am forever going to be an advocate of kind of bringing people's expectation of Japan down to earth, because it's just like any country. You know, people have this fantasy of it being like this amazing wonderland of anime and everything. And it's just not. It's not an easy place to live, and it's not a comfortable place to live, to be honest. But I mean, it's like anywhere. I mean, there's pros and cons. It's living in Japan is awesome. I love Japan as well too, but it's not perfect by any means. So I did my thing. I lived there, and I came back here, and then I taught at a public school here for a few more years until 2 years ago. I've been doing this now for almost 2 years. I mean, YouTube.
Full time kind of thing. Wow.
Almost 2 years.
I just want to echo back on what you said about lowering expectations. Again, thank you again for that, because I think I was watching a video that you did about the explanation about P Bandai and how we perceive it, and how Japanese people perceive it. And you know what? Like, that is such a really cool and interesting explanation, because us here in North America, or even outside of Japan in general, would be like, our expectation is to be like, yeah, their design is supposed to be like the super amazing, no flaws kind of thing. Because like, I remember building some P Bandais, like even more recently, the Geminis 01. I was like disappointed with it and thinking it's a P Bandai. Then I saw your video and like, that makes so much sense. Limited. Okay, cool. So again, thank you for bridging that gap. And guys, if you have not seen the non-review stuff that Zach has, they're actually informative. So go check it out. A couple of questions here before we get to some slides, because we have a lot of slides to go through tonight, guys. So let's see. I'll take out one or two more questions here. This is from Gunpla Joey. There's a question for Zach. Are you planning on sending all your kits to America when you move, or just select the favorites?
Most of them probably, unfortunately, because I'm gonna have a hard time partying with them. I think I'm planning on. I've got a kind of a stack going over here, a mountain that's growing of kits that I am going to try to get rid of ahead of time, just to sell a bunch off that I think like that I'll never want to get to. More than likely, I'll never get to 90% of the stuff that I have. But you know, these are ones that like I know definitely I have no motivation to ever want to actually like work on any further, paint or whatever. So you know, I'll get rid of a bunch of those, but I still have a lot, obviously. So there'll be quite a lot that I'll have to ship over. But fortunately, I'm going to work at a Gunpla warehouse essentially, so I have a place to send them in the meantime before we get moved into our new place. But yeah.
So is Adam giving you like a portion of the warehouse, kind of like this is now your new studio? We're gonna have like all these set up.
Yeah, I think yeah, definitely, and it probably that's a good guess. That probably will end up what it'll be because I will have my own studio space there. I don't know if you've heard Adam talking about it, but yeah, they're constructing a new warehouse later this year.
New warehouse, yep.
So I'll have my own studio space in there, and yeah, probably before I get all moved in, that'll be my storage space, I assume. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a good guess.
Oh, looking forward to that. And again, all the best with your move, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about that later on. We'll take one more question here, and we're gonna go. Let's see here, Zach. Question from Operation Stardust. Question for Zach: did you need to work visa while you were in Japan? Oh,
yeah, definitely.
On that? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So visa.
Yeah, you definitely need a work visa there. Depending on what country you're going from, you can get like a holiday visa. I think like Australians and people in the UK, I think, can get like a holiday visa, but we don't have that in America for Americans anyway. I don't know about Canadians, so I don't know, but
we're just accepted everywhere. That's what I know. So
yeah, I mean, you can go and visit, but you can't work. Yeah,
you can't work. No, it's a working visa for us anywhere international as well. Same procedure. There's like no special whatever for us here. Okay, guys, we're gonna do a little bit of slideshows here. Zach sent over a couple of images we could talk about a little bit about his life. Maybe get to know Zach a little bit more with these awesome photos. So they're not in order whatsoever. We're just gonna go through them, and maybe Zach, you could give us a little bit of context, and I'll just flip through as we complete them.
Yes, this is obviously an oldie. You can tell by how thin I am in this photo. And
dude, you look jacked. What was your routine, bro?
Cycling. No, I didn't just cycle. That's all. Just cycling. Nice. That's my other passion that has unfortunately fallen by the wayside in recent years. That's why it's kind of growing down here. But yeah, that was in my first apartment after moving back from Japan, moving back to Korea. So this is like right when I first started my YouTube channel, and the little kit that I'm holding there is the Kehar 2 kit.
Oh my god, the reason why
the reason why is because that was the first kit that I sold. So this was, I just took a picture before, or I assume my wife took this picture probably, or I had it on tripod possibly, but I took a picture before sending off my first kit that I ever sold. So there you go.
Is it a commission one, or did someone just
no, it was just something I think that someone just contacted me that they were interested in buying it, and so I sold it. So
nice.
So many kits, even like the more recent ones, like, you know, I don't remember who they're sold to. So I mean, like, if you're watching this, if you have one of my kits, you know, send me a picture and say, hey, here's your kit on my shelf. I'm just interested to see, like, where are they now? That kind of thing, you know.
Oh my god!
I wonder what's happened to them, or if any of them have.
How many you've probably sold?
A lot. I mean, most of, if like, especially while I've been on YouTube, anything you guys have seen me make, like as far as like painted stuff, has either been sold or given away. I don't like have almost anything of that. Yeah.
Awesome. Next one here, 2017.
Looks
so like their completed work.
Yeah, this is all completed works from 2017. So just a kind of short breakdown of that. But you mentioned earlier, kind of before we started, that it was interesting to see the experimentation. That's what I like when I go back, like looking through like my back works as well too. Just kind of seeing the experimental things that I tried. You know, they're like not kind of normal things. So like the petite guy with the leopard spots. It's just that was when I was going through. Yeah. That was when I was going through my fluorescent phase, where like I was first discovering fluorescent paints. So like that, and then the one right above that, the which kit is that?
So the burning.
Tri-burning Gundam.
Tri-burning, yeah.
That's also done like with fluorescent paints, where I was just kind of figuring out the power of fluorescent paints. So it was just very experimental. The Hygog was a commission. From a friend, Marcus, who wanted a Metal Gear Ray themed Hygog, and the Kshatriya, like the black Kshatriya, was also a commission. There's a couple of commissions in there.
Nice.
the 3.0 Gundam as well too.
I like the Grimgird on this one. Very, I want to say like you don't get that color enough on kits like these, because you would expect them to have that night color, like that white or the metallic one. But this one very, I want to say almost similar to the YF19 from Macross, with that like off cream color. What was the scheme on that one that you chose?
Actually inspired by a car. There's a car here. I don't know I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you the name or the make of the car or anything like that. But there's a car here, and I haven't seen any recently, but like for a while they were pretty popular. So I'd seen a couple of them around. Yeah. And it's a car that was sold in like that color with that racing stripe, the black and orange like racing stripe on it. So I'd seen the cars going around. I thought it'd be a cool color scheme to put on a kit. So I made that racing version of the Grimgird there.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like that one as well too.
Are all these like, can they find all the photos you've taken on this on your like Instagram or other socials?
Yeah, or at least on YouTube as well too. I mean, they've all been covered on YouTube, so you can find that all there.
Guys,
the Mechatro kits there are still here in Korea, at least. I think those are maybe the only ones that are still in Korea, because they're at Alex's house. I gave those to Alex.
Oh, nice.
Alex
and you did a what's it called, a contest recently for the Mechatro as well. So are these also what part of the examples, or just this was before the contest?
This was before, yeah. This was a good ways before, yeah. So those are just ones that I'd done before. And the mega size Zaku there in the bottom corner is in Japan, in my friend's cafe in Japan. So if you guys are ever in Osaka, if you ever go to Osaka, send me a message ahead of time. I'll let you know where the cafe is, my friend's cafe. His wife is a chef. Amazing food. Wonderful.
I'll be messaging you.
Yeah, very near like downtown. So if you're going to be going to like Yodobashi, Umeda, it's actually like kind of walking distance from there. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. Did you sign it? Was there a plaque or something that like, hey?
I believe I signed at the bottom of the foot, if I remember correctly. But you know, there's no mistaking that it's mine. I think if you see it, you'll know that it's mine. I don't think anyone's ever made one that looks similar. So even if there's no signature, the work is the signature itself, I guess.
Taking a couple of comments here from the Saintism, our previous guest as well on Spotlight. Hey Zach, longtime lurker of your channel. The reviews are very informative and always appreciated. Rinaldi here saying the Raising Grimgird really hooked me on Zach's channel. Nice. Let's see here. Oh, Julio is saying I want to critique these on critical builds.
Yeah, Julio, I'm down. Yeah, actually, you know that's super interesting. Well, actually, while I was gathering the photos for this, I actually had that idea, Julio. I thought, let's do like a special episode where I'll just like gather a bunch of photos of my old work, and then we can do an episode and you guys can just talk all about my old work. I'm totally down for that. Oh man,
I would love to see that. Yes, that is a yes for us here too. Awesome. Yes. Next photo here, you talked about your cycling. I think this is a photo of you doing your cycling as well.
Yeah. This was when I finished my year contract in Japan. Before I left the country, I wanted to do a cycling trip. So I cycled 1,000 kilometers, but actually more than 1,000. But that's what this picture is showing, the odometer there when I reached 1,000 kilometers. I cycled from...
let's take a look at that. 1,000 guys right there.
On a single gear bike, mind you, alone, from over 2 weeks. Over a 2-week time period, I cycled from Nagoya to Nagasaki. So like from the central Japan to like the far southwest edge.
What kind of bike did you use for this one?
What's the name of that? What was the name of that bike? I suddenly can't remember. Anyway, a single gear bike. That's all I can say. Yeah. I forget the brand. Shit, I don't know. I can't remember now. But
good. I was gonna say Fixie would have been a lot harder, but like a single gear.
Yeah, not fixed. Not that crazy.
The next couple of ones are RX 78 and 2. This is from the first 1-to-1 scale statue that was erected in Japan, right?
Yep. And interestingly, before it was moved to being in front of Diver City. So this was where it was first constructed. It was right nearby there, but it wasn't in the location where it was like for the rest of its life, and where the unicorn is now is in front of the Diver City building. But when it was first there, right, that's where it was later moved. So this is a later trip, obviously. But the first couple pictures, those were from when I first went to Tokyo the first time in 2009. So that's when the first built there. So like you couldn't even go like later when it was moved to there. You could go underneath and everything, but you couldn't do that at the time. It was just like on a little platform there. But it was so cool to see.
I have a question for everyone that has posted photos with them on the statue, be it the unicorn or the RX-78. Did you get a chance to touch it?
No, you can't. I don't know if they ever have any event or something like that where you can. You can walk underneath, but you still can't get close enough to touch it. I think like if you stretched, maybe you could, but then I'm sure someone would probably tell you pretty quick to not do that.
All right, guys, we're still batting 0 and what is it now? 16 guests that said no on that one. So hopefully we'll break that record when I go to Japan. Speaking of which, you made some friends, obviously, from around the world. This one here is from GBWC. There is Tim Harkins here, and I'm not familiar. Who's the guy beside you?
Ronald, I believe it was his name. Sorry if I'm wrong about that, but and I also can't remember now what country he was from. Sorry, so one of you guys help me out.
Yeah.
I want to say Singapore, I believe. I could be wrong about that, so sorry if I am. But yeah, awesome guy though. I mean, I didn't know him previously, and I haven't really kept much in touch with him. But like we met and had a couple conversations over there. Very cool guy, and
Nice.
that's Tim, obviously. There, who
is that the first time you met Tim, or have you guys known each other
in person? Yeah, in person.
Okay.
Actually, if you saw that video that I posted like last week from Tokyo, the Lost Tapes videos that I did, and where you see where Tim in like the second video where Tim first shows up in the video, that was when we first actually met in person in real life. That's when he came in. We were already there at the bar, and he arrived later than us. So he and Nico came together. Yeah. So that was the first time meeting both of them. But I didn't know Nico previously, so that was the first time we met ever. Yeah.
Funny story on that when I told you this about Nico's journey. So Nico, a close friend of mine as well here in Toronto in Canada, and we made a wager for GBWC. So he won Eastern Division for Canada, but he hasn't won National yet. And he goes, Ariel, if I win National, you're coming with me, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go with you if you win, sure. And then he goes and wins, but I already booked my trip to Mexico. So at the time he traveled, I was nowhere near the country, or I couldn't afford it. So it would have been so cool to meet up with you guys. And actually, it's funny, the video you were making, he was texting me about it. It's like, yeah, I met Zach. He's awesome. And we're now in the streets, and we're doing drinking and stuff in the streets. I'm like, I'm missing all this. So he did send me some play-by-play a bit on it. And I'm like, geez. So again, but it's kind of cool to, again, not personally meet you yet, but like digitally meet you and Tim, both that you guys are also friends with Nico. And again, it's all about community, guys, and it's kind of cool to meet and interact with all these amazing people, again, in various parts of the world and in various skill levels. So wow. So GBWC,
one thing I can tell you about that too, if I may. The awesome thing that I love every time I meet up with people, which is not very often, but when I do get the opportunity to actually meet up with people, it's interesting that there's so little conversation actually about Gunpla that happens when we actually meet up with people.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, people may have like this idea in their heads about in this photo, for example, oh, they must be having like such awesome conversation about Gunpla. No, probably not. We probably weren't talking about Gunpla anything at all. We're just like talking about stuff just as friends, whatever. I mean, I hung out with Aaron a lot more that day because we met up earlier in the afternoon. Tim didn't come till later. But going with Aaron, hanging out, and we were going around to shops and stuff. But it was awesome just hanging out. And I don't think we hardly talked much about modeling at all. Just kind of talking about going around in Japan and stuff, whatever. That was a much more prevalent topic.
No, and that's good too. I mean, I think Gunpla or model kits in general is just kind of like a platform where we all kind of meet, but it's not necessarily the final stop, right? There's obviously so much more deeper if you get to know the person and what they're about, or it's
just the catalyst for meeting someone, and then after that, you're just friends, whatever.
Speaking of friends, what do we got here, man?
Yeah, this is a year and a half ago now in Chile. That was an awesome time as well too. So I'm super grateful. Yeah, that they invited me there to Chile. I mean, at first I was like, I immediately wanted to go because why not? They're inviting me to Chile. I'd never been there, never been to South America at all. So it was really weird at first, to even be invited there. It was totally unexpected, but it was super fun. It was an awesome experience. Do
you often get
so long to get there.
This question, do you often get invitations to events and stuff?
Not that often, especially over the past year. I mean, obviously nothing's been going on, but not that often. I'd also been to the Philippines before as well too. where I was invited there, and that was also a very good time, good experience. But like the whole mechanism of how I was invited and like for the events and everything was a bit of a mess. The organizer who invited me did not do a good job, and then having it kind of like all the responsibility kind of got picked up by a different organizer who was awesome. So shout out to Boss Dex there.
There we go.
Philippines, if you're watching, thank you, Dexter, for taking care of me during that time. It was a really good experience. But yeah, this one was awesome too. So made a lot of really cool friends there.
This is the one that you did the G40 for, right? Like I remember you painting something.
I took it. Yeah, I didn't make it like for that, but I took it with me just because I wanted to take something to show. But it was cool to also meet some really amazing modelers from different genres as well too. There. So yeah.
How big was the scene when you got there? Was it like a big competition?
No, I mean not huge. Yeah, but there was a couple hundred people there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like over the course of a couple of days, and like we did kind of what do you call it, talks, demonstrations kind of things as well too. So yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right, let's get going. Oops, hang on. Next one here. Who do we have here?
Well, you should recognize Sungdong there.
Yep.
Gunpla Lab.
I was gonna say Gunpla Labs. Like, what was that like? What was the experience like getting a chance to chat with these guys behind the scenes? Because like you only see them like post and most of their videos, right?
Yeah, shoot. How did I meet him? Because I think I don't remember how we met. I think maybe Alex met him before me, and then Alex introduced me. We went there. So I think at that time that we went to do that interview, I think was the first time that I really met him in person. But he was, I don't think he was doing anything on YouTube at the time, or he had like maybe just started to do some stuff. But yeah, he wasn't doing much. He's certainly nowhere near as big as he is now, as big as he is for being a Korean channel in the international market. But I know a lot of people are familiar with his work. But yeah, it was awesome. He's super cool. We were friends. Every once in a while he'll message me that he wants to do some collaboration or something. But he lives in Seoul, and I don't want to go to Seoul because number one, I don't ever want to go to Seoul because I don't really like going to Seoul in general. But especially with COVID, I don't want to go to Seoul. So.
How about this guy?
We are planning on doing some sort of collaboration again when we can, hopefully before I leave the country.
Nice. Have you done? Obviously, you've done several collaboration with so many people. Like how is the local scene in Korea? Is it like a very big like community?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Gunpla is super popular here. Yeah, definitely. It's got to be like second to Japan or something, I would imagine, if not like China or I don't know, another Southeastern Asian country, but it's huge here. So I mean, like, there's loads of consumers of Gunpla. As far as like content creators and stuff like that, it's been growing over the past few years with a few like big channels, obviously, Songdong's channel, and then there's like Gunplaholic, I think is the other really big one, and there's a few as well too. Like I'm sure a lot of you guys know Frosted Snow. She's also here in Korea as well too. I think she's Chinese though. Is it? You know that for sure? I don't know. Have you ever talked to her?
I haven't had a chance to talk with her, but the guys from GTS did. So check out their special with her. I think they did a couple of specials with her on that one. But I did follow her channel too. There's like she has some really good tutorials, guys. Everything from like using airbrushes and working with resin. Those are some really cool episodes. But again, loaded with information, guys. So check out Frosted Snow when you get a chance. Here we have a photo of you shopping. What did you get? What were we looking at here, man?
Probably nothing at that time. This was I believe this was in Seoul, I want to say, from one of the trips in Seoul. So I think probably Alex was taking this video. This is just a still from a video, I think. But yeah, so just as like a thing is just to talk about the shopping like kind of tour videos that I've done. Has also been something that I've really enjoyed making those, and I think has also been something that's kind of helped to set my channel apart in some ways. Obviously, it's not a thing that I do all the time, and I haven't done any recently just because I haven't been able to travel. But it is something kind of unique that I've done. I think that hasn't got a lot of other coverage on YouTube, especially in English. But those are really fun to make and cool. So I hope you guys also all like seeing those videos. I think people do.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
I love seeing the shelves and shelves and shelves of Gunpla.
just a mountain and rows, an endless amount of rows of kits, man. That is like, I think, a Gunpla builder's paradise right there. Last image here, then we're gonna go on break. But what do we got here?
Yeah, this is actually a kind of earlier one. So this is all like some of the first stuff that I did, like that you guys would have seen on YouTube. So this was just also a kind of like all the builds that I did for that particular year. I think I want to say like for 2014, I think it would have been, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, so these were all either gifted or sold or commission works. Yeah, and now I don't remember who some of them went to, but
awesome work. Maybe something to submit for in critical builds as well then.
yeah, some of my super early works there. But yeah, again, like you can see some of that cool experimentation there though. So
awesome. All right, do you want to go back to that one? Hang on.
Sure.
Let's just finish. Just do a quick thing, rundown of like some of the kits that are here.
The first one was a commission. That was the first commission work that I did, which was I mean, a good learning experience, but also just bad experience, just because it was like very off the rails. And if you've seen the work, you've seen it just looks a bit of a mess. I mean, like there's some cool aspects to it, but I think what the idea was first pitched to me, I thought it was an idea that I could run with, and like I had it, like I immediately came up with a good plan for it, but the client wanted to do something different, and like every idea that I was throwing out, he kind of like didn't want to do that or wanted to do something different, so it ended up just being like kind of a mess, and it was a real pain. But you know, I finished it and whatever, it was done. So and then the Yakdoga was the one that I used for that first video series that I'm sure a lot of people have seen, which I need to redo at some point because it's very dated now at this point. But the middle, the Curios kit in the middle was the collaboration kind of that I did with Justinius. Actually, we did the Gunpla building for cheap, where we set like a budget for ourselves, which I got a lot of complaints about because I used like a lot of like name brand products and stuff, but it's because that stuff does fit within the budget here. And it's just like, I understand like if you're working on a budget, you're not going to have like a bunch of Tamiya paints and stuff like that, maybe necessarily, but
yeah, we'd probably use like dollar acrylics here or something for like
I mean, it was an interesting concept and something that I would also kind of maybe be interested in redoing at some point as well too, but either way. And then like the what is it, the Mock? Mock. That was like the first time experimenting with making texture on a kit as well too. So like that's all. Did
you use the primer, the 500 series and dab?
No, just basically thin to putty, but that's basically what kind of primer is anyway, or vice versa. But yeah, same kind of thing, but a little bit thicker. So just thin down putty for that. Yeah.
Nice.
And the Metal Gear Sahelanthropus inspired SD Zaku. That was fun.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. We're gonna get more of your projects next, actually. But before we get to that, I just want to say hi again to everybody, both watching on YouTube and on Twitch. I just want to read some comments here that we may have missed because like we're just getting so caught up with all of Zach's history here. Starting with, let's see here. I love those tapes. That's from Gunpla Joey. Chris Pabs is here. He's saying, just letting Zach know that I am growing those earbuds he requested.
Okay, good.
Drinking on the streets of Japan is so cool. That's from Nicholas Ciada Sanchez. Did you go to Easter Island? That's a question here from Operation Stardust.
I did not. That's a little bit farther north, isn't it? I mean, I assume he's asking that because I went to Chile, but Easter Island is much farther north from Chile, I believe, isn't it?
I think I'm not good at geography on that, so question mark on me. Choco Falcon is here. David is saying everyone in the photo looks like they had so much fun. And good morning to you there, David and Choco Falcon. Azius Mecha Models. Hey David, rainy morning. Question. This is from William Wilmus. Question for you: what will you miss when you leave Korea? That's a loaded question. Thanks.
The comfort of living here. It's a super comfortable place to live and very affordable. Cost of living is very affordable here, so like it'd be nice. It's nice to like just like never have to worry about money here, where obviously living in America, you know, you have a lot more expenses for stuff. It's just an expensive place to live in comparison, especially like healthcare and stuff like that. So that's probably going to be kind of the main thing that I'll miss about living in Korea. But then, of course, there's lots of other stuff. It's a beautiful country as well, too. Mountains, because we're moving to Florida where it's very flat. Yeah. So I'll miss the mountains and the food, of course. And, you know, my wife's family is all here. So we'll miss them.
Will you pick up surfing or like water-related sports when you're in Florida?
Doubt it. I love going to the beach, but yeah. Probably not that. Yeah.
Oh, we're not gonna see extreme parasailing from Zach just yet, guys. But let's put that on the wish list.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Let's see here. Yep, she is Chinese. That's from Ryan Lau. She's from Vancouver. Oh, okay. So Vancouver. Originally from Hong Kong, I believe. That's what Chiquito's saying for Frosted Snow. Question here for you from Eric. Question for Zach. Now that you're a father now, did it change your life a lot? And would you encourage your kids to join and enjoy the hobby?
Some people ask me this sometimes about like, will you introduce your kids to Gunpla or whatever, or will you kind of push them to try modeling or whatever? Mm-hmm. I mean, like, or even just saying it like, will I encourage them? No, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, they'll obviously know what I do. So if they're interested and like if they want to try it, then yeah, I'll obviously let them try it. And yeah, I mean, guide them or whatever. They've built a couple things already, like oh
sweet,
Haropla, and most recently they built the Pokepla Quick kits that I reviewed a couple weeks ago. I let them build those, but my kids are 3 and 5 now, so the 3-year-old can't. I mean, like, not so much, but my 5-year-old, my son, he can do it. At least for like the simple kind of kit like that, he could do it pretty much basically on his own. So yeah, he's interested in it, sure. And I'm sure like as he gets older, I'm sure he'll be interested in it. So has being a father changed, what do you say? Changed my life a lot? Of course, yeah. It changes your life a lot. In terms of like changing like my modeling life, I mean, it's just a matter of time management. I mean, you have to be good at time management. I think like for anything, I mean, just like in general in life, you have to be good at time management, obviously, but especially doing something like where you're doing YouTube, which is kind of like a 24-hour job. There is no like technical working time, so you have to be able to be good at managing your own time, making time, especially when you have a family, of course, too. If you're just single, it doesn't matter. You can just do whatever you want.
All the time in the world.
Yeah. When you have a family, yeah, I have to be really good about, scheduling my time and everything like that. And I think there's a lot of things that have like come into play that probably help me with that as well, too. I think just like my general like philosophy and outlook on life like helps me to kind of just focus on what I want to do anyway. So it all works out.
We're going to have a few more questions for you after this break. Joining us tonight, guys, Zach Rensberger, aka ZakuAurelius. We'll be right back after these messages, so stick around. We'll be right back after this. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the stream, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. I just want to let you guys know about an amazing online community that I'm part of, and it's called Side 6. Here, you will find like-minded modelers and hobbyists who enjoy the mecha and gunpla genre. We encourage posting of whips, projects, and tutorials to help each other move forward in our hobby and in our community. We are always open to new members of all skill levels, so come check us out at facebook.com/groups/side6. We also have an Instagram where we feature members' works, and you can find that at instagram.com/side6_mecha. For all new club information, resources, and news, you could check out our website at www.side6.club. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there. Hey, welcome back, guys. My name is Ariel. You're watching AO Mecha Live. Tonight we are joined by ZakuAurelius, and we've been talking about his early days leading up to his YouTube channel. Lots of loaded information. I want to say hi and welcome, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is our season finale episode for Spotlight here at AO Mecha Live. Also note that if you are on the chat, your name is automatically entered for a draw from one of our prizes from our sponsors, USA Gundam Store and MSMN Studio. So why don't we go back and see what Zach is saying? Hey Zach.
I wasn't saying anything.
What is he saying? What is he saying, man? Welcome back. Just after the commercial break here, we're gonna get into some of your builds, but I guess before that, just a couple of questions for you here. With YouTube at the time that you started, like, what would you say is like some of the major challenges that you faced and had to overcome in order to, obviously like grow your channel, and get more videos created. And then I'll have a follow-up question about how often do you make, or like the time for like you make your videos.
Yes. Tell me that one more time. But also, just seeing there in the chat, Operation Stardust had an interesting question that I want to come back to if we can. So just make a note of that. And let me say your question one more time again. I'm not sure.
I was gonna say when you're on your early days of YouTube, when you're just kicking started, what are some of the challenges you faced and how you overcame them?
Well, time management, as I was just talking about before, is one thing that I kind of just figured out. I said that I'm good at it now, but I did figure that out the hard way, because when I was first starting my channel was like right before I got married, and then like I got married and had kids, so I've kind of like gone through the growing pains of like becoming a YouTuber sort of at the same time while I was going through that stuff in my own personal life as well too. So very difficult to manage that. And there had certainly been times where my wife was very not happy with like how much time I was putting into Gunpla and YouTube and stuff like that. She's always been understanding and supportive in the fact that, especially later on, once I started, it started to become much more of a thing. Earlier on, I think, she understood I was just doing it like as a hobby or whatever, but then like as it also was becoming like an income source as well too, and like something that was allowing me to travel and do all this cool stuff, like she kind of was much more understanding of kind of my role in that and kind of the stuff that I was doing. But she's never been like interested in Gunpla at all. So people ask like, oh, do you build stuff with your wife? And no, she's not. This is not something that she's interested at all. Now she's totally fine with it. And like I said, I've gotten much more better at kind of like being good at being a husband and
so work-life balance in a way, kind of like
You have to kind of make a proper schedule. So
awesome. Follow-up schedule on that one. I know you create a lot of YouTube, almost multiple in a daily instance. Like, do you have like a pattern? Do you have like, some kind of, I wouldn't say formula, but like, do you have something that you follow that you're like, okay, I'm going to make it this long, or you're going to spend this much time on a project before moving on to the next?
Well, I don't know. Formula is a pretty good way to describe it. I mean, because if you watch like my reviews, or especially my reviews, I mean, other things are just kind of totally different, but especially for reviews, I mean, they're pretty formulaic. I'll go through kind of the same steps on them. And honestly, it's something that I try to change up every now and then, because I think it does probably get boring seeing the same flow of reviews, and just not even like the flow of information, like what's covered in them, but just kind of the style of the review. So every so often I do like try to make some changes so that it's not just getting too stale. But no, it is very formulaic, and that does probably help with the consistency. I pretty much have been, for like most of the time I've been on YouTube, of posting almost every day, but more recently I'm getting a little bit more relaxed about it, and you just kind of have to be, because it just gets overwhelming, and also just because of time management as well too. There's just not enough time in the day, even though I'm doing this full-time as a full-time job. I mean, still, video production just takes time. So
absolutely.
You have to, if I had someone to, like an assistant to build the kits for me, that would save a ton of time. I could do a lot more, but building the kits, recording, editing, posting, all this stuff, all just takes time. So, but I mean, I never like set like a weekly plan, a weekly schedule of what I'm going to do. I've tried doing that at times, but I just feel like, certain things take longer than you expect, or like something comes up, I'll get something delivered, or something that like I want to build like straight away, and that'll just kind of throw the plan out of whack. So it's much more comfortable for me to just kind of have like a daily plan. I'll usually just kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do that day, and that's usually enough for me. And so I just kind of take it day by day, what I'm going to work on that day. I think about like, okay, do I have something that's prepared for a video for today? If not, then I'll try to do something that I can work on like for today, or I need to like just spend the day just working on something that can be for a video for tomorrow or something like that. So yeah, it's a constant thing going on. That's why I mentioned earlier how YouTube's kind of like a 24-hour process. Like you're never like off. You're always thinking about, what am I going to do for the next post. And I mean, it's not recommended to be like that. I think like YouTube would love if people were just like that all the time, just like YouTube robots. It works for me, but it's not like I wouldn't recommend it for everyone else, because it might really tear you down. And that's what some, like, before I started doing this full time, I had people, like, I had mentioned that I wanted to, and I had people telling me like, dude, don't do it full time, you're just gonna hate it, like it's gonna make you not like the hobby. But I was sure in myself that, you know, this is something that I really enjoy doing, so I can do it like that. But I think a lot of people, it would probably burn them out on it. No doubt.
Just to echo on that, talking about, like, you know, the consistency and like back of, like, you know, everything that's prepping for the videos and all that stuff, in a way that I could relate with that, because just because like the live stream shows, there's like so much prep work, guys, that happens back of house that leads up to shows like this. And I wish it was more consistent, like every day would be a live stream. That would just probably kill my my brain. To that point, I do agree that you do need a certain type of mental strength to cope with like the type of stress or the type of work that's going to be involved, because like a lot of them, obviously you want to be creative, which is already a strain with being technical, because then you have the creative flow that wants to be all creative, then you have your technical that's like, you know, you have to follow this in certain time. And then doing it on a constant 24/7. I mean, I'm no therapist by any means, but like that would definitely break someone down. So thank you for, you know, your POV on you know, how you work and all that stuff. And again, I'm sure everybody appreciates, if not, I'm sure everybody appreciates your hard work and dedication to your consistency.
Well, no, and I think what you mentioned live streaming, that just also kind of reminds me. I mean, like, there is a trade-off though. I mean, like, if you're always trying to post like more regularly, then you're kind of trading quality and quantity, right? So like you, for example, you could live stream every day, but then you wouldn't have like the time to you know, invest for doing the extra stuff that makes the quality better. So I think like, in all fairness, the quality of my videos is probably not that good. Like, not every, I always say this, like, not every one of my videos is like a must-watch video by any means, but how I see the content that I make is much more of just like a library of information that, you know, like, is there for you to go. And so like, if you're looking for a review of one specific kit, you can go there and find it. Or if you're looking for a video about, I don't know, one painting or something, which is not something that I make videos on very often, but you know, there's a lot of different kinds of information there that you can kind of pick and choose from. It's not like, my content is not, at least in my mind, made for people to like, you watch every day and consume every single video.
It can be very specific and they could pick and choose. But the thing is, like, you have a vast number of videos already available that, like, even if you take a break or two here, like, there's still going to be so much content that people will still kind of like go through and rummage around, right?
Yeah. So I mean, like, my like Studio G, who you had on before, is like a perfect example of the exact opposite of what I do. Super cinematic, really highly produced videos that are like super entertaining for what they are. But you know, I think he makes videos, I don't know, every 2 weeks or something like that, maybe something.
Which not as frequent.
Totally works for him, because then he gets the trade-off of having like way more views on the video, but it's every 2 weeks, so you know, they're much fewer videos but a lot more views. And so he probably ends up, I'm sure at the end of the day, on like in a month, he probably ends up with a lot more views than I do. But
do you follow channel analytics that way when you're doing your channel?
I personally don't that much, but I mean, I know people do. I mean, like I said, I just kind of do my own thing, and I just make the content that I want to make. I put it out there. People seem to enjoy it enough. That's good enough for me. I don't really pay that close attention to analytics, and especially not other channels' analytics, like checking out the competition. I know some people do follow that stuff, and my advice to those people would be like, honestly, just stop doing that. Stop wasting time looking at what other channels, I mean, like, look at what other channels do for ideas and inspiration about your own content. But as far as like checking analytics and things like that of other channels, I mean, like, it's a good way to see like what works. So like, if you see another channel doing something that ends up like, well, their normal views are here, and then they do something different and it's like way down here, so you know, okay, well, maybe that didn't work for them, so maybe I won't try that. So I mean, like, there is value in looking at what other people are doing, but also, I mean, like, don't make it like a big thing that you're getting stressed out over.
Absolutely. Let's do that question that you mentioned to circle back on from Operation Stardust. What was the question at?
Yeah. Just he said stoicism is a thing you try to cover on your videos, Zach. What is about stoicism that encourages you to drop wisdom? And I could be wrong about this, but I believe it was Epictetus who in his book, or it's like a book of his kind of writings and letters and stuff actually, but in one stoicism book that I've read, I remember that like one of the things that it said was for you to not, that like you shouldn't teach as like a believer in stoicism or as like a follower of stoicism, that you shouldn't teach stoicism, that's not the right way, that you shouldn't like try to educate people about what stoicism is. You just be that, you just do it, and people can see it and people follow by example basically. So that's what I tried to do. I don't really like talking about it as much because I do believe in that idea of that it's not my place to educate people about it. I just live it, you know? So that's why I don't really talk about it a lot very directly. But like through the videos, like you said about like the P Bandai video that I did, and even more so the video previously the week before that I did talking about like content and stuff. That's like a super stoic message, and that basically.
So to circle on that, just want to touch base on that because I want to touch base on that later on. But like since you touch base on it now, lots of people reached that. Without getting into too much specific details, was that like, was it drive by like just your POV, or was this like kind of like, you know, a recurring thing that like, you know, people have been probably bugging you with? Like what was kind of like the catalyst of like, you know, and why do you think it's important as someone that did deliver the message, and what kind of message did that send to people that you want to convey?
Honestly, like I have a list in my phone, a note of like discussion topics that I've like every so often, like if I just think if there's something that I see a lot and like I have my own thoughts and ideas about it, I'll just like put it down as like an idea for like a discussion video like that. And so like that's one that I've wanted to make for a long time, and like I finally just decided to make it. And it was kind of equally spurred on by like both the topics that I covered in the video and why I decided ultimately they're like the end results, or like the, I don't want to say, anyway, they're so similar. I just lumped them into one video. But equally spurred on by, I mean, just like I said in the video, seeing people complaining about stuff online, complaining about what goes on in the Facebook communities and stuff. I feel like it's just such a pointless waste of time. And then all equally people complaining about female YouTubers and live streamers, whatever. It's just a waste of time. So
exactly. No, good points. We posted it on our community side 6, and we had a lot of discussions as well with that, both in the admin team and within the community. It really sparked a lot of like it's in everybody's head, but like no one is like actively doing it. And then what the worst part of some of my observations is one of two things. One, you'll get like, you know, you get white knighted by people that follow certain YouTubers, or you get the people that's like that would just ride the train with you and be like, yeah, I was thinking about that the whole time too, dude. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, here we go, let's discuss it. But then the discussion just went like all over the place. It was so erratic. Like some of them made sense. I'm like, okay, cool, we agree with the points, but some examples were just like, what are we even talking about here? And the thing is, like, to your point, the basic message is like, keep doing your thing. That was the bottom line of it. Like, you know, if you got something that you like, you do that. People do their stuff on their own. Like, you know, what you're doing cannot be compared with some other people is doing, etc., right? So again, great message on that. And again, hopefully you could do more. And you mentioned that you have a list of topics there. Maybe at the end of the show, maybe a preview of some of that list for things to look forward to. We'll do 2 more questions and we're gonna get to the show here. We've been talking for so much. Let's see here. Neon Wave question here for Zach. How much do you think it would cost to ship all your kits? Tool supplies to your new place when you move?
It's probably gonna cost, I don't know, probably like $1,500 or something, I would assume.
Ooh, okay. Next question here from Ranny. Question for Zach. Having a film background, do you equally enjoy editing your videos as much as building the kits?
Well, yeah, I would have to. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it every day, you know? Yeah, definitely. That certainly has helped me. And that's another thing, I mean, like where my editing is nothing fancy either. I mean, like it's very basic. So like I know how to edit on a very basic level, and that's what I'm good at. That's what I'm comfortable with. and that's just what I do. So yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, definitely. I am. Obviously, just like that's why I studied in school, so I have a good background in doing that. So that's nothing that gave me an advantage straight away. Like when I first started my channel, and I know like talking with friends, like in the very early days, like Simon, Gundam UK, and Jiminbu, Jim were like a couple of the main people that like I first kind of was friends with at that time. And both of them, I remember like at the time, would tell me that one of the things that they liked about my channel, why they thought it was a good one, was because of like the video quality and the editing quality was like better than others at the time. Now it's just kind of very basic, but yeah,
it gets the message across, right? Like you people want to see what they need to see, and you clearly show it on your video. So awesome stuff on that. Last one here from Gunpla Joey. Question for Zach: do you ever set days for yourself, for your own mental health, to give yourself a break?
Not necessarily. I just kind of, like I was saying before, how my schedule is not like really fixed. I just kind of take it day by day. If I am just kind of not feeling into it, or like whatever I had originally planned for that day, then I'll just do something different. So yeah, it's never like a scheduled day for like decompressing or something, whatever. But like if I just feel like just chilling out and not really, doing anything too serious, then I'll just build something. That's kind of my way of just relaxing and meditating. Building is very meditative for me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
awesome
so
stuff.
I'll just pull a kit off the shelf, and all I need to do is just record the unboxing portion first, and then I can just have the rest of the day to just I'll just chill out and build it. Yeah.
Do you often record your building process, or do you just do the unboxing and then skip to
the building process? No, just because I feel it's just so uninteresting for me. I know that there are other channels, other content creators that do incorporate a lot more of like showing the building process and stuff, or like speed build videos or things like that. I mean, I do live streams, but that's because I'm able to talk to people while doing the build. But like as far as like just recording it and just putting it in a video, it's just so uninteresting for me. So in my mind, I feel like who would care to watch this? Like there's no information you can gather from it. That's going back to what I was saying before, how I see my content as being informative, ideally. There's nothing informative about watching someone just put the pieces together. I mean, like,
unless you're chatting with them in real time, kind of.
Yeah. Then the value is in like just being able to talk with people. But I just don't see any value in just watching the assembly process of something.
Awesome stuff. Now, speaking of building, why don't we go to some of your photos?
Sure.
We have a slew of awesome builds from Zach here. Again, they're no particular order. Zach, if you want to go through some of the builds here, maybe points of like, why you selected it for here, maybe some lessons learned, or, what you liked about the kits.
Yes. So yeah, these won't be in order, but this one is in order because this was my first fully painted kit that I ever did. So this would have been 2011 or 2012, I think. Yeah. While I was living in Japan, it was when I first actually really started to paint, because I'm in Japan. I have access to all the paints everywhere. Everything's everywhere, very easily accessible. So I thought I might as well take advantage of that. So I got started painting. So this was spray can painted. I don't remember, honestly though, why it looks the way that it did. It looks like I like sanded some of the paint.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it painted or like?
yeah. I think I don't remember. But I can guess probably what happened was that the paint kind of pooled a little bit. So in order to flatten it down, I just like tried to sand the paint maybe, and then like I was like, oh, it looks kind of interesting. I'll just leave it like that. So
nice.
Yeah.
So with your the paints, this is your first time building in paint, like what you obviously must have learned a lot from this, do's and don'ts. Care to share maybe like one or two examples of that?
Yeah. What did I mean, like, you just have to get used to the physical process of spraying the paint, how far, how to spray, watching out for the paint pooling, dripping, things like that. It's just kind of getting used to the feel for painting. Yeah. And then like, cause otherwise, I mean, I'm sure I wasn't doing a ton of like sanding and prep work and stuff like that, just basic removing the nubs and all that. I was painting on my veranda of my apartment. There at the time, I had like a typical very tiny Japanese apartment with a little veranda on it that I basically just used for painting. So by the time I moved out of the apartment, there was like a layer of like paint dust on everything on the veranda. So sorry for whoever had to clean that, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, you obviously didn't stop. You continued it. The next ones here, again, they're not in order, but like this one really struck me as well. Like very different color from a typical Sazabi that you would see.
Mm. Yeah, much later. This was much more recently. I think this was like beginning of the last year. This would have been like a year and a half, or like at most like 2 years ago, not that long ago. One that was a commission. Someone who just contacted me who just wanted a custom colored Sazabi. So is in teal, and there's multiple tones of teal there. It's pretty, you can see it there in some areas. It's apparent, but it's pretty subtle, the different tones, which is ideal for me. That's what I prefer. But like you can see like there on the shoulder, there's a couple different two tones there. But I love colors. Colors is kind of like my thing that I really enjoy about painting. You know, getting all the colors right and everything. Choosing.
Do you have a favorite color? Like your
must
go to?
Yeah, I'm not like Chris, who just is like has become a meme about how much Chris loves purple. But like no, I love purple as much as the next guy. But you know, no, I don't have a favorite color. And if you look at like my works over the years, I've done every color under the rainbow. So yeah.
Oh, this one is cute. It's Penelope.
Something else that I also enjoy doing that I don't do that often, but I love working on little figures as well too. Actually, I'm working on one now currently. The Next Edge style XS.
Oh, nice. Is that the XS?
I recently did a review of it, but now I'm just working on detailing that up. But yeah, detailing up figures, primarily Converge figures. That's my favorite line. Is what this one is, but other stuff, you know, kind of when I can. But I love doing that. It's a lot of fun. If you guys like Converge figures, or if you never have had any Converge figures, you should check them out. They're great.
Wait, let's go back to that one real quick. Aren't Converge figures already colored, or did you just paint?
Yeah, they're colored. Yeah. It's so I just did like some detail painting, panel lining, decals on that. Yeah.
So it doesn't come with decals like this. Or did you paint over them? And then,
It doesn't come with any decals on it. Like a couple of them, like the. So occasionally they'll have like one main marking logo or something like that on it, but no.
Yeah. I did not know that, because like, okay, I've seen Converges at the stores here, and I've been meaning to pick one up, and I'm like, I'd rather build the kit, like, you know, get an SD and build it, but I didn't know that you could paint over it, or rather detail on top. Well, thank you for that. Now I'm probably gonna go buy a freaking
try it. Super fun.
Kit tomorrow. It's not a kit, it's a figure. It's a PVC. It's a PVC material, or is it a plastic material?
Yeah. Just spray some gloss coat on it first, and then just do kind of normal thing, panel lining, decals. That's it. Yeah.
Nice. And the next one here, we have the Manzinger.
Yeah. Super cool build. Huge. I'm not a Mazinger fan at all. Like, it's not something I'm familiar with at all, but it was a fun kit to work on just because it's huge. I really love mega size kits, and that's basically what this is. Just because they're huge and they have a lot of detail on them. So this is one of the few kits that I appreciate as well too. I don't do a lot of appreciating just because I was
gonna say this is different from your other ones, because I've seen you do a lot of them are like, you know, I wouldn't say just flat coats, but like you have multiple tones on that one. This one is like one of the first ones that's distinct pre-shade on the outside, similar to I guess Saintism. He does a lot of that stuff too, that you do here. We were talking about favorite colors. So my favorite color is orange, so this one is an automatic perfect for me. Nice. 10 out of 10. 12 out of 12.
This just because of the design of it, because it's got this very segmented design, it kind of needs to be appreciated. You kind of had to, it looks so much nicer if you really kind of highlight that by appreciating everything. So that's why
the details that it came in, like all the hexa parts, and these are all stock, right? Like they came with
I didn't add any. No way. I didn't add. I don't have the patience to like do that much detail work on a mega size kit. I did a lot on like the mega size Zaku before, but for something like that has a ton of detail in it already. So
next one here we have the God Gundam. This is the Hiram?
No, it's the resin kit. So
it's a resin kit. Okay.
That's the first and only full resin kit that I've done. But it's not, I guess, not technically full resin because it uses Lego parts in there. So I did a whole series of work in progress videos on this. Oh, wow. So yeah, all like the joint connections and stuff is all using Lego parts. So a very unique build. It was super fun, and it was really fun to be able to share that on YouTube as well too, the whole step-by-step process. Because I got messages, comments from people who were also building the kit or have since then have been building the kit, and they said like seeing the work in progress videos was really helpful.
Nice.
because it's quite a unique process using Lego parts in a resin kit.
Did the Lego came with the kit, or did you have to purchase the Lego?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're not like official Lego parts. Obviously, they're just like off-brand Lego pieces. But yeah, that was all included. So I mean, you have everything you need in the box, but still, it's a different building experience, of course.
The one I was hoping you'd had on the set, and I should have requested this as well. I did watch one of the earlier videos that I followed you and watched from like start to finish was the Barbados paint. When you were painting it, and what I didn't understand at the time when you were doing your priming, you primed it while it was all built as a whole unit. Like I'm usually like accustomed to building it, taking it apart, priming it, and then putting it back together. But when you went at it, I'm like, what is he doing? And I'm there like sitting there going like, okay, I'll watch.
Oh no, that's totally me. I mean, if anyone watching has never seen that video or has never seen me, I've done that in a couple of builds. From time to time I do that. And yeah, if you're not familiar with what Ariel's talking about or not familiar with why I do that, or if that sounds strange to you, there is a good reason for doing that. I do that especially for kits that are very parts heavy like that. I've done that. I know, like, for example, I did that on like the 3.0 Gundam as well too. And the reason for that is because they have a ton of little parts and stuff like that. So spraying just like a thin coat of primer on the kit while it's all still assembled just helps you to identify which parts are going to show once you paint the kit and put it back together, because there's a ton of parts that won't end up showing at all. So there's no point in painting all the parts that won't end up showing. So you can save yourself a lot of time and effort and headaches, honestly, from putting in a ton of work painting and panel lining areas of parts and stuff, whatever, that are ultimately not ever going to show at all. So just do a thin coat of primer and then you just assemble, and then I will go and then do like more primer on those parts later on, like a full coat.
I did understand it the part when you were doing that first. I must have had either the volume low, but like I was watching you do it because I was working on my own kit at the time. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? So then I started I'm like this now on in front of my screen watching you paint that. Awesome build on that one, probably one of my favorite ones, because I learned something on top of like enjoying actually seeing it built. The next one here, you talked about the Zaku being in a restaurant there. This is the one that we were talking about earlier. Right?
So that's why it's got the buildings painted on the side there. That's a kind of motif that they have in their restaurant that was actually inspired by, where did they go? Somewhere in South America, but not Chile. They had been on a vacation to somewhere in South America. I don't remember now, where they'd been to, where that was like a thing, and they'd bought like some stuff, some souvenirs or something from that had this. And so they've used that, and like they've painted that in a couple of places in the cafe as well too. So like they've kind of used that inspiration as like a
theme or something
inside their cafe as well too. So that's why I wanted to paint that onto the kit that I was then giving them for their cafe as well too. And the little cat on the front skirt there is also the kind of logo of their cafe.
So cute.
So I had that decal custom printed for that.
Oh, nice. It's very rare to see you weather like extensively like this one. Would you say that would you prefer doing kits that are weathered, or do you enjoy the clean builds more?
Yeah, definitely clean. I don't particularly enjoy doing weathering just because I'm not good at it. But like, I'm friends with Mike, I'm friends with Lincoln, I'm friends with
I was gonna say, not good at it. Like, this is pro level, man. What's going on here?
No, it's very basic. I'm friends with people who are like the masters of weathering, so I should be taking advantage of that and like really kind of getting good at weathering. But no, I'm just I'm a bit lazy, and I just don't really feel like it's kind of my forte, weathering. I try it every now and then, and I'll try to pick up some new techniques or some new information.
Well, Michael's on the chat here. What do you think, Mike? Passable? Is this up to the level of the RSP?
Yeah, this is one. Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the better ones that I've weathered. There's some good points on there. I know Mike will like that shine on the lower leg right there.
On the lower leg, yeah.
Yeah, I know Mike will like that. There's some good aspects on there, but no, I mean, my weathering it's not my expertise. I'll try it a little bit here and there, and I enjoy it well enough to apply it from time to time. But clean builds is definitely my preference. Yeah.
And speaking of clean builds, the next one up here, the Messer.
Yeah.
One of my favorites as well, one of your recent was like, I was on the fence buying the Messer until you actually reviewed it and you said what type of color scheme. Because the pink for me was kind of like, okay, I get it. But your color scheme in this, amazing. Like, how do you select your color scheme when you're working on your projects?
I don't know. Just kind of look at I haven't got loads of paint here, obviously. So just kind of look at the paints and then like, not sometimes, like more often than not, when I'm trying to look at like a custom color scheme, like I'll take like the manual with me. Like this is a Megami Device manual here, obviously, but I'll like take the manual and I'll go over there to the paints and just like stand with the manual and like all my paints there so that like I can visualize them like right side by side, you know?
Yeah.
And like I'll pull out some paints and like I'm like trying to picture that. So it's all just in my head basically. But a lot of times it's just like thinking about a color scheme that I like on a particular different design and applying it to something else. So like this one is kind of like basically Zaku colors, essentially black with greens within like highlights and stuff on there. This one I should note also is actually at USA Gundam Store. So I sent this to Adam. Nice. This is there in the showroom. So if you guys are ever in Florida and want to stop by USA Gundam Store, you can see this there. But yeah, it's a super cool kit. Really
it looks awesome. I love, like, again, like you separate the color really well. I wasn't sold with the Messer until I saw like what you were doing with yours. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. Question for you: the antenna. I must have missed that. Like, where did you get this guy here?
That's a Kotobukiya option part, I believe, or a wave. I think it's from a wave set, actually. Yeah.
And then the sword custom at the background. Obviously, is it like a compilation of stuff?
No, that's a Simp. That's a resin weapon from Simp. Yeah.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yes, it's actually a cannon weapon from a game or something like that. I think it's meant to be used by the Dom, actually. So that resin kit is, I think, actually supposed to be for like the 1/100 scale Dom, I think. But so that's why it's so huge. I end up using it with the 1/44 scale kit. The Messer is very big kit,
it is
so
huge.
it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Skip a little bit here. And then we have a little bit of like rockets here, handheld grenades. This is from the Camphor or something else?
Those are also just Koto parts.
Koto parts, okay. Nice.
It's MSG action weapons, yeah.
Next one here, we have a little bit something from the, what is it, the F91 series?
Yeah. This is the RE kit. I really should have branded this series as like Trash Treasure as well too, because that's basically
what do you? Okay, question for you. We're talking about RE. Obviously, you've seen your slew of various kits from different grades, different scales, whatever. What is your honest opinion on the RE line? Like, where is it going? Like, why do we even need it? Maybe that's another question.
I love the RE line. I really dislike the amount of people who dislike the RE line. I think, and honestly, that's it's you know, to be completely honest, and this is not throwing shade. People say, "Ooh, shots fired," but Mecha Gaikatsu is guilty of this, unfortunately, of like really giving the RE line a bad name, I feel like. So a lot of people just kind of listen to his reviews, and he kind of really doesn't like the RE100 line. Very apparently in his reviews of the kits, which I think it's just unfortunate because the kits are not that bad by any means. Like, they have some weak points, but ultimately I love the line. I think it's great. Just like, if nothing else, the RE line is a way for us to get in 1/100 scale these designs that we probably wouldn't have otherwise got kits of, like these more obscure ones, and they're always really nicely detailed. The earlier ones in the line, super good for having almost no like seam lines and stuff. Some of the later ones, they get a little bit more, they get some seam lines on them, unfortunately. I think Bandai kind of got a little bit lazy.
Like pretty good. The newer ones were pretty good. But what I'm more concerned about, like, I don't know if you noticed, but like they launched the RE series a couple of years back with the silhouettes, right? With all the kits that they wanted to go. I think one of them was like the Reborns, and then the Gaia. Do you think, and this is just more of like a prediction kind of like thing from your perspective, will we see any of those lines that they silhouetted, or do you think this has now been canned forever?
No, yeah, the infamous photo of the RE candidates. Yeah, classic. No, interestingly, they have gone through that list and made kits that's just not in the RE line. So most of the kits in that image have gotten, or like most of the designs in that image, I should say, have gotten kits, just not as RE100 kits. So like they are making their way through the ones. Yeah, one of the few ones left is like the Gaia. They've not made a new kit of the Gaia, but I think with the Calamity Gundam coming out, that very well could likely be coming out as a full mechanics kit. The guy.
Yeah,
very
that
possible.
one's because the thing is, like, the Calamity is coming out with the RE line instead of the MG line. Actually, the big surprise for us was the Jin coming out as an MG.
The full mechanics line to be precise.
Yeah, it's not MG Jin. Oh man, what will Bandai think of next? Let's talk about this real quick before we get to the next slides. Very gold in color.
So with this one, it's just that the original kit is so ugly. I didn't really like it at all. So I wanted to just kind of take up the opportunity to challenge myself to take a design that I thought was really ugly and make it to something that I thought would look cool. So that was the goal of this.
There's like the Hayakushiki kind of like motif to it with the
totally.
black
Yeah, the color. This is an example of where you asked me about colors before. This is an example of where I just adopted a color scheme of something else onto this, and it's totally just taken from the Hayakushiki. Yeah.
Nice, well done. Exactly. This was originally the white version, or is it the red one?
Red one, yes.
The red one. Okay.
So I clipped the wings that it has on the shoulders; those are gone. There's some design changes. I got rid of the V-fin. The rifle and lance were separate weapons, but I combined them into one weapon together.
Sword lance, gun lance, yeah.
Yeah. The shield was added. That's a shield like it's like a spare part from a GNX shield or something like that, and the beam effect part from a different kit. So I did a work in progress video on that, I'm sure, as far as I can remember. So you can check that out. But yeah, there was just some modifications I made to that just to make it to something that was much more pleasing for me personally, and so I like how that came out.
The next one here, the Boundock, very recent kit. This was it this year or late of last year? Was it last year? Okay. Well, big kit. I built one of these too, and I was surprised at the size of it. I'm actually surprised we even got it. It works really well with the Zeta line.
Yeah, very cool kit. Just for the size, if nothing else, even if it's a weird, goofy design, it's fun to build just because of the size of it. And yeah, it's just another one where I just want to try something different with it. So took some inspiration from the GAMP, the version of the Boundock that's from Dragon's Heaven, with all the fuel tanks and stuff all coming out the butt of that. That's
there they are,
inspired by the GAMP. Yeah. And then the colors and the painting, everything was more like Machining Krieger inspired, trying to do a kind of camo pattern, like splintered camo used like often for the Nutcracker, particular Machining Krieger kind of armor kit. It's kind of the inspiration for that. Didn't exactly come out exactly how I wanted or how I had envisioned. I think I didn't do it quite right, but it came out as it is. It looks pretty cool.
Question for you. This one right here, is this from the Re-Rise Azure?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, interesting use for fuel tank there. Awesome stuff. And then also the decals here. This is very interesting decal. Where's that from?
Gonna say that's Mecha decal. I believe these were all Mecha decals for this one.
I was gonna say. Shout out to Tim and Mecha decals. Again, you could purchase them at USA Gundam Store. I like it too, because like I think I talked with Tim about that one. It's like, I like it when I notice my own decals on other people's work. Now after he said it, I'm like, I'm looking at other people's work now too. I'm like, hey, what decals did they use? Awesome.
I think this was like right after I had just gotten them, or it was the first time using them. So I wanted to. I think I used almost all Mecha decals on here. Like the main logos and stuff are not; those are different. But all the little ones.
Wow. Okay, there's a question here. Just going back to the RE. A question from Kaio Mecha. What is your favorite RE model?
That's a tough one. I love the look of the GP04. It's a really beautiful design, and I think it looks awesome. The only thing that I don't like about the GP04 is that it has the really super cool gun, but it can't really hold it very well, so it's kind of disappointing. You have that big, massive, like, I don't remember what it's called, beam launch or whatever that it has, but it's just so awkward to hold, so that's kind of double-edged sword there. Other ones, I mean, I don't know. The Ifrit is also a beautiful one as well, too. I love the Ifrit. What else? I don't know. Yeah. The gun cannon detector, actually, quite weird one, but I actually quite liked that one a lot. It wasn't one that I would have expected to like, but I did like that one. That's not a kit that I've ever worked on as far as like painting that or customizing. I would like to, though. It's kind of one that I do think about from time to time, like, oh, I want to pull that kit out and do some work on it. But
hey, maybe we could see that in the future, right?
Eventually, yeah, probably.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We have a question here from Mike Skyers. He's saying, question for Zaku. Did he sell this kit yet? I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe the Bondoc? Are any of the last 3 kits sold, or do you still have them?
The Bondoc, yeah, definitely is sold. What did we look at before that? I can't remember.
Oh, it was the...
oh, yeah.
This guy here.
Yes, that one sold as well, too. I don't remember who this...
Oh, he's talking about the Bondoc, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't remember who the Vigny Kira, I don't remember who I sold that to. The Bondoc, though, I know who I sold that to because it's sold to my good friend Zach McGee, who he is the one person who has the most of my works. I think he probably has like 5... or I don't know, maybe more, 5 or 6 of my bills he has. So he has a whole museum of ZakuAurelius works at his house. Yeah, Zach's awesome.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to going to visit him in the States and kind of seeing some of my old works again. That'll be fun.
Oh, reunited with your children. It's gonna be awesome.
And him too. He's an awesome guy. We met in Tokyo. Why was he there? He was there for school or something like that. He studied there for a bit. So we met, hung out in Tokyo on one of the trips there. I think you can see him in some of the videos.
Nice. Next one, a very funky looking Zaku here. Nice zebra stripe happening.
That's PewDiePie Zaku.
Yeah, the PewDiePie Zaku.
Yeah. So that one, yeah, I was enjoying PewDiePie's videos. I don't watch him too much anymore these days. His whole thing, once he started doing Minecraft a bunch, kind of got me out of watching his channel. I was just not interested. But before that, I was enjoying watching PewDiePie a bunch. So yeah, just wanted to make this and
do you think
try to send it to him.
His working on Zaku Live influenced like a growth in our community in any way?
Yeah, I'm sure it did, probably. Yeah, I think he's done a couple of videos, right? Live streams.
Yeah, of him building. Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently I don't remember. I think someone told me that like in one of them he mentioned something about me or my channel or something, because what happened was with that Zaku, if you can go back to that.
Yeah.
Was that I wanted to send it to him, but I had to figure out how to do that. So like I posted it on his subreddit.
Okay.
And it got a ton of upvotes on his subreddit. So it would have been like one of the top ones on there. And yeah, I don't know if he's still doing this, but at the time he was doing his Luai videos where he just goes through like all the top posts and stuff from his subreddit. And so I figured, well, surely he's going to cover it in the video because it was one of the top ones for that week or whatever. But then like the video came out and it wasn't in there. So I really wonder if he did react to it and it just got cut from the video. Very likely. But somehow, what was it? Sometime later, he did send a message to me or something. I don't remember how it first got started. But anyway, he did get in touch with me, and then we talked for a little bit, and he did give me his address, so I was able to send it to him. And you can see it in the background of a number of his videos at that time. And then every once in a while, it does kind of pop into the videos when he's going around his house or something. I think he still has it in his studio, but it's like not behind the camera; it's off to the side or something.
I probably shuffled his place around for it, right?
Yeah, you can see it around from time to time. He told me that he broke the antenna on it, so I said, well, if I ever visit England, I'll fix it for you, but you can fix it with some glue pretty easily. But yeah, I haven't talked with him in a long time, but at that time I talked with him a little bit about that. It was really cool. He's a super cool guy. He was interested in getting the PG a stray red frame Kai, I think at the time. So we were talking about like painting that. He was asking for painting advice for that kit that he was getting. So
that's awesome. Cool. That is really cool. I like getting a little bit more background, the kind of story like that. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
I still get comments on that video. People asking me like, did he ever get the kit?
Yeah.
Read the other comments. There's like a million other comments on this video of me answering, yes, he got the kit. And I think I even pinned a comment on the video as well too, but people still ask. Yeah. Awesome. Yes, he got it. Yes.
Maybe future collabs with him if he ever gets that. Did he ever get out that PG red frame?
I believe he did. Yes, I believe so. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe. I get the sense that we were actually discussing this kind of recently on where was that? Or they were discussing it or something, I think, on like Tim's live stream or something about like his influence or something like that. Someone brought it up about his influence in the hobby, and like how you asked about that earlier. Do I think it introduced people to the video? As far as I know, I don't think it's not a big interest of his. I think he enjoys it a little bit, but it's not something that he's ever gonna do like regularly. So I wouldn't expect to see him like becoming a Gunpla modeler. It's just something that on the occasion he enjoys to do. Yeah. So I mean, and as far as like his influence into our community with that, I honestly think like, yeah, obviously it's a huge exposure, so people will be introduced to the hobby through him, which is great. And is he a bad influence on the hobby by any means? I don't think so. He's fine. Yeah, he's good. Not like giving people bad advice about it. I think it's pretty obvious if you watch him building stuff. I mean, obviously he's an amateur who's just kind of just doing it for fun. So
just enjoying anybody who takes it,
anybody who takes him too seriously is just not looking at that through the right lens, I think.
Yeah, well said. Just a quick comments here before we continue on here. Michael Rinaldi did comment back. I think he said, I scrolled down. I was gonna read it. But anyways, one comment from Michael Rinaldi. This is from the Bondak. I think the full mechanics become that what Reborn was meant to be, using the new technology to improve construction, like the coming Calamity. Maybe.
As far as I know it, the full mechanics line, because the full mechanics line existed with IBO kind of at the same time as RE100. So I don't think that's necessarily an evolution. I think it's just different branding based on different Gundam franchise, or different, what do I want to say, series anyway.
Yeah.
The RE100 line is used for UC, and everything non-UC would
fall under to that. Yeah. I think that would have been good.
That's all there is to it, as far as I can tell. Because they're so similar. They're both highly detailed, and it just depends kit to kit. Like the RE100 Gun Easy, for example, is not very detailed, but it's just because it's a different type of design. So.
And they put it to that line instead of the MG line, or if anything, right? Let's continue on with the showcase here. Sorry, I like skipped a few things. This is the REGZ.
No, the HGUC Rezel that I did for the one-day build, where I streamed the entire building process from start to finish, from cutting the parts off the runner all the way to spraying the final top coat in 19 hours. It goes live stream all day long. So again, big shout out to Alex as well too for helping out with that. He was here most of the day, kind of helping to manage things and kind of giving me someone to talk to, and giving me some breaks, filling in when I needed to take a break or something. So yeah, that was fun. It was a really good experience. I had a lot of fun
19
with that.
hours. That's good to know, because like I've not really timed myself and like how fast I would build it. But like, is that would you say your average time would be to like doing a high grade kit?
No, certainly not. Yeah, no. It was very rushed. I don't want to say like cut corners sounds negative, but not like cutting corners, but just like knowing where you can cut corners and still get a good finish, That's something that I'm sure I talked about during the stream, and I've talked about at times since then, but something that I've learned a lot from Lincoln, talking to Lincoln and Mike to a degree as well too. Talking about like the industry side of being like a professional modeler, like for publications and things like that. They're often forced to, they have to have a really fast turnaround. They can't spend months working on a build. They have to build it like over the weekend or over a week, because they need photos for a magazine or whatever. So they have to know, where you can take shortcuts in order to still get a good like magazine finish for kits and stuff. It's a really, I think, good, important thing to learn. It's very helpful. So I've really kind of embraced that.
Nice.
Not for every build. Some builds I take much more time about, like the Mark V, for example, which I just completed, is another example. One of those that was sort of like again rushed, but that's just also sounds a negative way to describe it. But
you're just speeding through it, pretty much. Like you gotta finish it.
How can I say, a production finish. There you go.
Nice. Just continuing on, we got a couple of Zaku's here. Awesome stuff. A little bit more like of the light weathering, it looks like. Nice.
Yeah, very subtle. I was trying to go very subtle on the weathering on these. which I like. So like when it comes to weathering, I definitely prefer, more subtle the better. And also looks more realistic, I think. This was something I did to enter into a contest. I don't enter contests all that often just because my schedule doesn't really allow for it, but I did want to. For this one, there was an origin contest that was going on. I ended up taking second or third place for that. Yeah. And from that contest, I got this Master Grade Death Scythe kit, which I've not yet built, but this was my prize from that contest.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a review on that soon, then.
Eventually. I'll get to it.
Awesome.
But yeah, so that was my first time like trying to do like some sort of diorama as well too, kind of dirt and water effects.
Okay.
There.
I see.
Also
so you have an upside down like box here. We got some dirt. Oh, that's really cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Also not great, but good first attempt, I guess.
Hey, everybody got to start somewhere, and that's really cool. Again, good use of a box and a good use of the color scheme. I think the color scheme for me is what my favorite is on this one here. Awesome, like earth tones, kind of like desert theme, and I love that one-off color as well with the shoulder.
Yep. Yeah, just it's just super MSV color scheme. I really like MSV color schemes, so you'll see that a lot, especially on my UC era stuff. Obviously.
We're gonna get through. Let's see, a couple of images here. We're gonna take on some comments, and then we're gonna go on a quick break in a bit. But yeah, walk us through this one here. I remember you doing this. This is like the Machina Krieger kit, right?
Yeah, the Kuster. Yep. It's a variant of the Croat, and it's a whole kind of thing that's much more common, I think, in especially Machining Krieger. I think probably much more than anything, but even like cars, armor models, maybe not quite so much as well too. But like pairing the kit with like a usually female, but not necessarily always, but probably 8 out of 10 times it'd be some sort of female character figure. So that's I enjoy that. So I've done that a few times. In a few of my builds, I get mixed reactions about it. A lot of people don't like it. They're like, "Why'd you have to ruin your build by putting in a stupid little girl character figure in there?" It's like, dude, I did it obviously because I wanted to do it, not to please you. I don't think that really deserves any explanation, but the
or validation for anything. You do what you do. You like what you do, and whatever.
Well, seems obvious to us, but for some people.
I just want to quickly point out. Let's go talk about
I love the kit is it's one of these. Maybe not that one. Anyway, it's the minimum factory line from Plamax. Good Smile Company makes those minimum factory 120 scale little plastic kits. They're awesome. I really enjoy working on them when I get the chance. It's an
actual kit, or is this no, this is a kit, right? Like the
it's a plastic kit. Yeah. So. Most 120 scale figure stuff is resin, but the nice thing about that series of kits is that they're plastic, so they're super easy to work on. And they're all like molded in color, of course, as well too. So even if you don't paint, they're great for that as well too. They're a bit expensive, like $30 or something like that, but still cheaper than resin. So really cool line if you guys are in the market for that kind of stuff. Definitely check the line out. They're not all females. There are a couple of male characters in the line. But
what was the line called again?
Minimum Factory.
Minimum Factory.
This is, I think, one of the more recent ones that just came out. Look at this.
Oh my god, it's freaking Mirage. I want that. Oh yes, and yes. I have a Macross figure. I mean, a model kit for that one. Oh, thanks for sharing, Zach.
Yep.
Oh my god. Okay, guys, Christmas list if anybody wants to donate to AO Mecha for their charity funds, totally more than willing to accept that as a gift. But wow, that is awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Again, Machine Krieger, again, very interesting mechas. Like, this is not your typical snap fit together. This is not your typical Bandai that's like given to us with like pretty much a silver spoon to like, hey, everything fits. This one here, I know the Mackay line, you have to like obviously do glue. It's traditional modeling. And is this something that you've also been working on? Is this your first one? Like, what was your history with non-Bandai snap?
That was my first like really finished proper one. Before that, I'd only done a couple of the capsule kits, which are like really small. They're 1/35 scale little capsule models, which are awesome too. But This was the first proper 120 scale size one that I had done to completion. I have a couple that that are like half built, unfortunately. But yeah,
it happens.
This one, I mean, obviously, I customized as well too, adding the arms and adding the weapon that was not stock. It normally doesn't have arms. It's just the head on top of the legs, like a AT-AT kind of style, like backwards leg, you can walker kind of thing. Yeah, they're really fun kits to work on. I like them a lot. I got my Dachshund here that's primed that needs to be painted sometime soon. And the Krakenvogel, one of the kits that you showed in the intro, is another one that I finished recently. That was also another Machine Creator kit that I painted. That's kind of like my second true finished Machine Creator kit that I've done. But you've seen that I've been a fan of the line for a long time, and that's like kind of how I first met Lincoln when he first started his channel.
And you know what's funny?
So
Lincoln was my last season 2 finale guest. So yeah.
So I've been a fan for a long time. I just don't work on the models all that often. So, but I enjoy it when I do. But you will see a lot of Machine Krieger inspiration in my other works as well too. Like, and this is an example. Like the markings from this, the K markings on the stuff. Those are Machine Krieger decals. And like so, you'll see a lot of Machine Krieger influence in my other non-Machine Krieger works as well too. So it's definitely something that's inspired me a lot through my works over the years. We were talking
before the show, and I was told you I was finally gone through. I was sorting out some of the images here for you, so that we have some of them were just misnumbered, so I had to sort them back. But this caught my eye. I think this is my favorite from the set. This is the one with the Haropla head on the mech over there, and the diorama is just. There's so many things happening. Like what kind of story are we looking at here?
This was my one and only time I've entered in GBWC as well too.
Nice.
This was for GBWC 2018, I think it was, for Korea. Entered, honestly, I probably could have placed third in my unbiased opinion, like in all honesty, but ended up not, unfortunately, but too bad. But no, there's I think the modeling in this one is quite strong. The diorama, the actual like meteorite sort of effect that I was trying to make is probably the weakest point of this. It ends up looking kind of ugly. My rock molding is not good. It didn't end up turning out exactly how I was going for, and it was a time crunch, obviously, with it being GBWC. That happens. So
how intense was the competition like in Korea? Like you mentioned.
That year there I was actually maybe a little bit fortunate, as there wasn't that many like really good ones that year actually. So that's why I can say pretty confidently that I think I probably could have placed, should have placed, but whatever. So
it's still okay. An awesome build though. Again, one of my favorites out of the set, and like I said, the amount of detail on this one, the diorama. When you mentioned the rock, I was like, no, it looks pretty good, man. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking crazy talk.
Yeah. Well, the idea is it's just supposed to be not a like scene of war, but like they're on like some like asteroid mining facility, some sort of thing, right? Is what kind of what I'm going for. So they're just these vehicles, like the balls, and like the mecha unit that they're just there, like just doing some whatever mining work or something. So that's what it's supposed to be, and I think most people got that. But there was like when I did a video and stuff about this, people did kind of have some different ideas as to like what it was supposed to be. Which is fine, but at least that was what my idea was for it.
I did try some of the comments that stood out for you from that what you mentioned.
I don't know. I don't really remember actually, to be honest. Other than just that, I think people did have some different ideas as to what it was kind of supposed to be showing. Okay. Like the scene was maybe not super clear, but no. As far as like what you were saying about like there's so much stuff going on, I tried to design like the placement of everything in a way so that like you could look at it like from every angle and like kind of see something different about it. Like the composition of it was something I definitely put a lot of thought into, as far as like where things were placed and like kind of how things are flowing through the scene, having the mech kind of like floating there with his hand on it, and then having the balls kind of going up in like opposite diagonal ways like that. So That was
I
all.
love this cart right here from the photo. Like you could frame this almost, especially with the bokeh or the foreground being like all blurred like that. Yeah, you're right about like with GBWC. Also, they are looking for, again, like this is from speculation, not speculation, but like from what I heard, that like when they look at your entries, it's something that they could obviously publish for magazines as future material for advertising. So they look at it in a 360 kind of way. And I think people sometimes forget that, and they would focus on the front of it or like a specific angle and kind of miss the shot because they didn't take care of the other side. But dude, here all of the areas here are amazing. Like it's like almost in every angle that you look at, there's something interesting. Even the little metallic pieces from the rocks. Obviously, for me, it's like, yeah, they're mining core, or that could be used for like either metal or production of something. So again, really cool stuff. What scale is this guy in? 144 or 100?
The grays is the body of that is or like the arms and legs, I should say. It's all from the 100 scale grays Kai, and then obviously the Harpla kit and the balls are 144 scale. So it's all mixed as far as like the scale goes. So it's just kind of, and then like I think the human figures are in 1 to 100 scale.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe, and I modified the balls to put human 1/100 scale figures inside the balls there, so I don't think you can really see it in any of the photos. Yeah, but you can kind of see
a guy there somewhere. Yeah.
There's guys in there that I had to kind of chop their legs off in order to get them to fit in there, but you can't tell. Awesome. So okay.
Nice. All right, let's bring it back here real quick, guys. We're joined by Zach here, aka ZakuAurelius. We're just crossing like almost past halfway of the show and tell here. Got a few more photos for you guys to share. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. We're gonna do a quick break and we'll be right back with more stuff from Zach. So stay tuned.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Ariel from AO Mecha. I just want to let you guys know about all my other social media outlets if you haven't had a chance to check them out at facebook.com/AOMecha, on YouTube, youtube.com/AOMecha, on Instagram, instagram.com/AO_Mecha, on Twitter @AO_Mecha, and on Discord, fairly new. That one is AO_Mecha, #3414. Anyways, hope to hear from you guys through any of those platforms. Feel free to DM me or PM me, as well as emailing me. My email is aomecha.info@gmail.com. Just want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by USA Gundam Store. Please check them out, www.usagundamstore.com, and save on your purchases when you use my discount code AOMecha10. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there.
Hey, welcome back, guys. My name is Ariel. You're watching AO Mecha Live. Tonight is Saturday, our season 3 season finale. Joining us is ZakuAurelius. But before we get back to him, I just want to say thank you to everybody tuning in both on YouTube and on Twitch. Just to catch you up with a couple of things. First off, tonight is a giveaway night. So if you are chatting, your name is entered into a draw by our sponsors. One of the prizes from our sponsors, USA Gundam Store and MSMN Studio. So hopefully you guys are chatting. I'll try to get as many questions as I can, but I do apologize if I miss it. But big shout out to everybody joining us, and read a couple of names out here. We have Kaio Mecha, Ben Voigt here, Michael Rinaldi at Rinaldi Studio Press, Gunpla Joey saying what's up. Anthony Aiello, that was a long stream. Yeah, when he was doing that stream for the Zaku as well. Let's see here. Brendan Hay built a Millennium. What is that? Millennium Factory Relina Prowler kit as an U-build. Okay, cool. Also on Twitch, we have Okamichi Factory. That Haro is rocking that graze. Let's see here. We have Riot joining us. Again, thank you again for the subscribe here. Riot, appreciate you subscribing to the channel for another month. Again, thank you so much. If you guys are just tuning in, we're joined by Zach, and we're going to get back to him. And again, don't forget, guys, to hit that follow, like, subscribe, and share if this is something that you could help build and grow as well. That would be appreciated. Okay, anyways, let's see what Zach is saying, and we'll get back to the show with him. Hey, Zach.
Yo.
You still good? We feeling good still?
Yes.
Awesome. We got a couple of more images here that we want to get through, and these are some of the fun ones that I want to get to, because it's like the next couple of ones here I don't think are Gundam related per se or Mecha related per se, but they're really, really awesome. So let's get to that right now. Ooh.
Oh yeah. These are also now at my friend Zach's house, who I said has a bunch of my works. He has these as well too.
Nice.
Yeah, these are custom couple of Megami device kits. Yeah. What did
Nice.
did you want to ask me something specific about them, or should I just?
No,
say
I was just talking about it. The thing was like, I usually again you review a lot of like various different model kits and genre, but I always like when I see your reviews or like when you do work that is not Gunpla related, because like, hey, that's cool. Okay, now you're breaking the chain, because like it's almost like, oh, he's gonna do another one of this, but like when I see this, I'm like, yes, okay, cool, something different. Megami devices, they're from Kotobukiya. Like, what do you have a preference between Megami or the Frame Arms girls when it comes to the female mecha?
I mean, not necessarily. It just depends on the kit. There's certain Megami device kits. Probably in general between the two, I would say I like the Megami device line more.
Okay.
They're more hits, like with the Frame Arms line. There's some of them kind of hit and miss, the design wise, that I like. But most everything I like pretty much in general. I think Megami device probably a little bit better quality. Between the two lines. Interesting. I mean, you'd think they're both from Kotobukiya. Are they really all that different? But there is kind of a noticeable difference between them, it seems like. Yeah. Like you said, I like to work on different stuff from time to time, and that's what kind of keeps it fresh. That's another thing that people often ask me about. How do you not get burnt out? And it's just by doing different stuff all the time. If I was like only doing the same thing every day, I would get kind of burnt out. But
it's funny because that was one of the questions about, like, how do you cope with burnout? And again, I think you've answered this several times now throughout tonight. It's like, it's not like you take personal days off or whatever. It's just like you do what's therapeutic to you would be building more stuff. That's awesome. Yeah.
It ends up working out that the therapeutic aspect, or like the thing I do to relax, is also work. So it's not like if I had to like take days off to go to the beach or something like that, then it's counterproductive to like getting any work done. But it's like the thing that I do to relax also allows me to still get work done at the same time. So it's great.
Nice.
These were a lot of fun. These were using resin parts, like kind of resin conversion kit sort of. So like the body with like the arms and the sleeves and stuff, that's resin parts. And then the head and the legs are what's taken from the original kits. And then modified or just customized with some parts. So like the booster kind of parts on the one that's in the foreground there, on the legs,
like the lightning
sides. Yeah, those are from Bandai. Lightning weapon system kits, and then the one in the background as well too. That one, the weapons are at least the funnel rack and the funnels, those are from a Bandai set as well too. So using some Bandai parts, mixing in with that, and then obviously they've got the Titans Advanced Zeta coloring on them. And
I saw that there was like sorry, hang on. There was a sticker at the back, or the decal at the back here. Awesome design here. I love it.
So they're the coloring for them is Titans Test Team coloring, and then they've got the Advanced Data markings on the jackets as well too. So that was
nice
for those.
Yeah, those were a lot of fun. To get the resin, because I'm kind of interested in getting the resin conversion now too. Like, I've never seen this, because I thought it was part of the Megami line, but after you said it was resin conversion, like, is there a specific brand or company that you go for these guys?
Not necessarily. Those ones that I used with this are recasts, and people have differing views about using recast stuff, and I totally understand that. I do agree that it's better to use the originals. If you have the means, then definitely it's better to go for original stuff. But obviously recasts are a thing. Recasts are never going to go away. So I mean, like, they exist. It's not like kind of in my official capacity, I will never recommend people to get recasts, but I have recast stuff. I use some recast stuff sometimes. I also have original stuff. So I mean, like, I just kind of use whatever I can get. I think for me, or like with the recast stuff, like, once you paint it, it becomes art. Like, it becomes yours. It's not like you're replicating something. Whatever. It's just a matter of supporting original artists and not supporting people just copying other people's work. But I don't know. I don't know if we really want to get into a discussion about that.
No, that's fine.
It's a whole different thing. But maybe I'll do something on my channel. I don't know if I feel like nuking my channel or not, but maybe I'll do a discussion about that eventually at some point. But basically, just yeah, if you ask me, I'll tell you yes, this was a recast. Would I recommend you to go out and buy recasts? Not necessarily. Will I tell you where I bought it? Not necessarily. If you want to find it, you can find it for yourself. If you can find the original and you can afford it, then yeah, I would recommend. That's what I would recommend you to do, is to get the original.
There we go.
But I will admit, that's not what I use. So think of me what you will, but that's
let's go with the painting aspect. Like, what kind of paints do you tend to use when you're working on your
mostly either Gaia or Mr. Color. Lacquers is what I use most often. I do have some SMS paints that Scott has sent me from SMS to try that I've used a couple of times, but not that much because I don't have very many of them. And just Mr. Color and Gaia Notes are super easily accessible here, very cheap. So kind of I was gonna say the other version of that. I was gonna say, why fuck with the best, or why fuck with the rest when you can have the best, sort of thing. But or yes, anyway, or the non-lewd version of that. But I mean, like, not to say that other brands like SMS or anything, whatever, aren't good, because they are. I mean, they're very good, but I mean, like, for like just staple hobby paints, Mr. Color, Gaia are like the biggest brands, and that's what we have here. So there's just
we've been using them for years, right? They're time proven. Whereas obviously you're gonna get all these newer ones that will still need to go through the growing pains. They're gonna get reviews, and hopefully they're gonna evolve to to improve on either their material, their paint spray on. I actually have SMS Paint 2 that Scott sent that I have to review. I haven't gotten around to that yet because streaming, work, day job, and all that stuff. But during the break, I'm gonna be doing some recorded session and hopefully, reviewing it. And maybe we're gonna come to a different conclusion. You never know. So let's continue.
I'm always looking forward to trying new paints as well too. I mean, like, aside from SMS, I've also tried AK paints. Those are also pretty nice. They have a really nice coverage on those. Hopefully. Let's see. I want to try the E7 paints and the Moto paints as well too. Are a couple other brands I would like to try that I've not tried yet.
This guy here from Anchoret. I haven't dabbled with this yet, but it's gonna be in one of the things I'm gonna be reviewing too. But like, there's so many paint lines that are coming out. Like, I think I saw EA Gunpla doing his own line soon. There was an announcement on that. And Studio G is sending his paint, but I haven't received it yet, so I'm assuming it's just lost in the mail at this time. Or maybe he just never sent me. Studio G, looking at you. No.
I don't know. I don't really understand it, but whatever.
Let's talk about.
Yeah, I have no inspiration. I have no motivation to ever consider making my own paint line. I don't know what the point of that is, but whatever, if that's what they want to do.
We have a question here from Germany, Don Swergo over on Twitch. I guess it's talking about paints. Question for you: would be a price change on Mr. Hobby make you think about to switch to another brand mainly? Do you think it's really about the price? I don't know about that. What do you think?
No, I mean, yeah, sure, that's something to consider. And he may be kind of referring to how I'm going to be moving back to America. Obviously, in America, those aren't as cheap and easily accessible as they are here. So yeah, that might force me to use other brands more often, and especially working there at USA Gundam Store. We're kind of the main distributor for SMS for America as well too. So I'm sure I'll probably be using SMS more, and then just kind of whatever I need. But Adam has basically told me, like, yeah, whatever you need, you just kind of take off the shelf whatever we have. So
here you go.
Hopefully we're just able to keep a good stock of Mr. Hobby and Gaia paints. Then I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, yes, I mean, obviously, the price and availability would be something I would consider. Sure, yeah.
Okay. Earlier on, we talked about Pokemon and how your 5-year-old has built some of them. Are the next couple of Pokemon kits built by your son?
No, not in this case. This one, the Mew kit, I think we did kind of build it together. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
At least like the initial snap build of it. These ones though, I built earlier on, so they didn't build these.
They're so cute. Shars.
Charizard.
Charizard. Awesome.
Yeah, so I had the idea to do Charizard, and then the that set comes with all 3 of these in a set. So I figured I'll do the other ones in other different alternate Char color schemes. So Sazabi and Hyakushiki color schemes on those as well too.
Oh, that would be so awesome. But these are not the kits though. These are like the Gasha figures.
No, they're kits. Like
Pokeplamo. They're Pokeplamo. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know all 3 of them are in the same kit, or is it separate kits?
They come as a set. Yeah.
Oh, it's sold out here. I haven't. The only Pokemon kit I have right now is this guy from Black and White. And I built this recently with a friend, but they're really good. I was actually, this is my second kit now from it. I built the Mewtwo first, but that was like a while ago. But they're really cool. Like they look like Pokemon.
Yeah, loads of seams, but
yeah.
Other than that, I mean, yeah, it's cool to build if you're a fan.
Here we have one of my favorite colors, orange. So this is definitely 20 out of 20 easily. The Nobel Destroy mode, I believe, with the hair out.
Yeah, Berserk form of the kit.
Yeah.
Version of the kit that I did as a full armor Berserk. Nice. Which obviously people immediately jumped on that, saying, there's no armor on it. It's like, yes, I know, like full armor in the sense, like kind of like the unicorn is full armor. The unicorn though technically is full armor in that it has 3 eye fields with the shield funnels, yes, but it has no actual physical armor added onto the kit. So anyway, in that sense, it's a full armor version of the Nobel, sorry. But yeah, I just wanted to put a bunch of guns on a very like dainty female Gundam design. I thought would be a cool like contrast. So that was kind of the inspiration for this one, just to put some heavy weapons on there.
The fade here is awesome. I love the gradation from the darker orange to the sunburst here. Awesome stuff. So what kind of airbrush do you use? I never got a chance to ask your gear yet. Like what do you use for painting?
Well, I have 2. The one that I'm using, that I used for a long time, and then I've been using it now again, is Iwata Eclipse. But then kind of what I was also using in between was Sparmax one that I have as well too. And they're Iwata is owned by Sparmax, so they're basically the same company. But the airbrushes are like slightly different, but they're both good. So I mean, the Iwata Eclipse one that I have is actually one that was actually even a hand-me-down that was given to me. So and it's still working well after all these years, after like 6 years almost of
they're solid brands.
So yeah, definitely great airbrush. And yeah, I really like that how that gradient came out on the head as well too, because I originally first painted it all in like the fluorescent orange that you see towards the tip, and it was just it was also too close to the orange accents that are around on the other parts of the kit. And having the hair in like fluorescent orange was too similar. And then it was just too obnoxiously bright because I used the fluorescent orange for that. So I wanted to tone it down. So I started spraying the yellow. And I think even as soon as I started spraying the yellow, I didn't have the idea to make it a gradient at first, but I started spraying the yellow and I thought, well, let's just try a gradient and see how that looks. And then if I don't like it, I'll finish off the rest of it. Yeah. But it's just some yellow on top of that really bright fluorescent orange.
It came out awesome. Yeah, I dig it. Also the weapons. Yeah, these ones, a couple of them. I think this one is from a mix of IBO.
They're all IBO, yeah.
They're all IBO? Oh, okay. Nice.
Yep. All from
next
IBO
one here. This is from the is it the Ultraman series? Not Ultraman. Yeah. It's Ultraman. No, Leo. No. I'm thinking of something else. I forgot the name. It's not the
Ultra 7.
Is it 7?
No. I don't know anything about Ultraman. I just like the kids. Sorry.
Looking good though. Very red, and again, very striking red on this one. I love the finish on it, even though it's like monotone in regards to the red and black.
Don't you know really the inspiration for this one?
It's the Akira bike.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, am I being quizzed here? What's going on?
I was gonna say.
It's good. Awesome stuff here.
Akira bike inspired, yes. Yeah, I don't know anything about Ultra.
Bike with this guy.
For a lot of fun.
That would have been. It's like this is the 1 to 12 scale, I believe. Or did you go for the 1 to 6?
What's the scale on them? Yeah, that sounds right. I think you're right on that. 112. Mm-hmm.
Nice, awesome finish on this one. Again, you're probably using the either Mr. Color or the Gaia line.
That one I don't recall, but I think it was Gaia, yeah, for that one, I believe. So
So-
for that one, the reason I would guess that is because like if I wanted like a really bright color like that, Gaia is usually a little bit better, having like really rich, bright colors. So that's probably why I probably used Gaia for that, I believe, yeah.
Awesome stuff. And the decals here, are they custom printed or?
They're all just random stuff. You can see on the shoulder there, the face is the same Converge Jane Doe logo that I used on my Mark V. It's from the same set. So that one's custom printed because I have that set of custom printed Jane Doe decals. But the rest of those are from actually Mechatro decals, most of them. There's a couple other different things, but most of those are from the Mechatro set of decals for the racing type Mechatro kit. So they're like racing decals. Same decals set that I used for the Grimgird, racing Grimgird we talked about earlier.
And it looked great. I'm looking forward to the critical build episode of that one. Let's see. Let's go to the next one here. Very cool. Now, the darker colors on this one, almost like Metal Gear inspired again.
Yeah, this one is another kind of happy accident. I didn't really have this in mind at first, but ended up being like perfect, like low visibility camo on this. It's like a large splinter camo on that. The color that I use for this is actually from my like recycle pot of paint, where I'll I have a few. I have like a red one, a blue one, a purple one, a gray one of like bottles of paint, where it's just like anytime I have like a custom mixed color, if I have some left over, I can't put it back in the bottle because it's already custom mixed. So I'll just put it into like one of my like recycle bottles. So this was from my recycled purple bottle. So like anytime I use like a shade of purple or something and I have some left over, I'll throw it into this extra bottle. So it's constantly changing the color every time I add my leftovers in there. Like the color of that's always changing. So this is just from my my recycle purple bottle was getting kind of full, so I thought I'll use that because I need to use some. The bottle's getting full, so I used that. And then for the secondary camo color, I think I just added a little bit of just like off-white or something to it, just to give it a two-tone.
Nice. And that's something I totally effed up on my last color, because like when you guys were looking at my clean versus weathered, I'm like, oh, the color did not go what I was going for. It was the blue, and I was like, well, I was going for the marine color, and that was my first time actually working on marine color. But like I guess I gotta get a little bit more closer to the colors so that they're not like super contrasty. Again, awesome like variant shades here, not variant shades, but like variant tones, multi-tone on the camo. Awesome. Then you use like regular tape to, I guess, to mask out these things?
Yeah, I can show you. Actually, in the photos, you can't really see it. It doesn't look all that purple. It looks much more purplish in real life. You can see it on here. I got it right here next to me. You can see the purple tone of it a lot more when it's well lit, but it's just in the photos, it's very dark,
Yeah, nice. Oh, there is a hint of purple there for sure.
Very cool, little simple model. It's a fun one to work on. One that I started work on like years ago, and then like I just came back to it just recently and actually finished it.
Cool stuff. The next one here, we have the MGEX Unicorn. How did you find that build? It took me about 3 live builds to do this one, just because the wiring, to me, I felt like if I missed something, that strip of wire LED was gonna break.
Oh yeah, totally. The build was really complicated, and it's I think probably the only time that I've ever done a live build of the disassembly of a kit. I did a live stream. Just disassembling this one too, because it was such a process, and I figured it could be actually useful information for people as well too. If you did like me, like I did, how I built it without the LED at first, just because I just wanted to. I was worried about disassembling it with the LED inside because I was worried about damaging the LED strip. So just built it up first just for the review, and then had to take it apart for painting, and then put the LED strip back in once it was fully done. But yeah, so it's a really difficult kit to work on in that if you do it in the way that I did it, which was like just a very cautious way to build it, because you can't put anything together until everything's completely done. So like normally for a build or something, like you could put after you paint, you could put the leg together and then like do your top coat and panel line decals like with the whole leg or something. But with this kit, I had to do everything and like with it completely disassembled. So it's a million parts. It's a kit that has a ton of parts.
Yes.
So it was a huge chore to paint this kit just because I had a huge just space full of just all the parts of this for the entire time until it was finally done, and then I could finally put the whole thing together with the LED strip once all the parts were top coated and everything. So I didn't do anything, and also because of the psycho frame parts in there, I didn't want to spray matte coat on any of the
clear parts in there,
clear
and
parts
all that. Now, question for you, and maybe you let me know what you think. The MGEX, do you think that's going to be a line that they're going to push for in the future? More kits coming out for it?
Well, I heard a whisper as to what the next kit was supposed to be in the line, but it's still not ever come out. So I don't know if they are going to push forward with the line, or if they have just kind of put it to the side for now. It seems like for the time being, they're just kind of like putting it to the side and like trying to focus on getting caught up with reissues and keeping up with the new stuff they're trying to put out. But I would assume we'll probably see at least one other MGEX kit at some point, but I don't think it's a line that we're going to see like on a yearly basis or anything like that.
Now, question to follow up on that one would be like price point. Again, this is not a kit that, you know, someone that has low resources or like, you know, medium resources would go and get, because this is on the higher tier mark, especially here. I remember when it first came out, like when we saw the price, I'm like, that sounds kind of ridiculous. And then what do you think? Do you think the price is justified for the design and the gimmicks of this?
No. Bandai's LED, anything with LED is always overpriced from Bandai. I don't know why their LEDs cost so much, but yeah, unfortunately, anything that includes LEDs is going to be, you know, I think a little bit overpriced from Bandai, unfortunately. But I mean, the kit is awesome and it looks great. Yeah. So I mean, the price probably for what it is too high. Yes, that's true. I would agree with that. But it's a great looking kit, so I don't know. Yeah.
Awesome. Continuing on, one of my favorite series, Gundam Wing. Awesome justice on this one. This is the MG. It's a bit of mix though. This is like the color scheme that you use for this one is from I would say the Verka Endless Waltz version, but you're using which wing for this one? Is it the Verka or is it the new?
So that's the new. The kit is the new Verka, right? But the color scheme is adapted from the old Verka.
The old Verka.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, obviously, just super desaturated and altered a little bit, but that's what the design of the colors and everything is all taken from the original Verka kit. Yeah.
What do you think of the Kadoki lines? Like, have you seen improvements of them, or is there like, you know, are they a line that you think is just like very kind of like niche almost? Because like it's like when you hear Verka, it feels like almost approaching that limited side, but it's also mass produced, right?
It's something kind of similar to like how I was saying earlier, how I don't like how I find it kind of annoying how people think about the RE100 line earlier, how people just kind of by default think, oh yeah, it's not as good. And I have the same kind of thoughts about Verka as well too. For me, Verka doesn't mean anything except other than like, oh, we're gonna actually get decals in the kit, which every kit, especially at least every master grade kit, should include waterslide decals. So for me, if I know something's Verka, that just means that we're getting decals, which is good. That's the only thing that it really means to me. But I know, there is this kind of perception as like, oh, Verka are kind of like overly engineered or like they're extra special or something like that. But I mean, like, yeah, they are usually a little bit more engineered. I think Bandai does probably invest a little bit more into them. But I mean, I don't know. They're just master grade kits at the end of the day for me. I mean, like master grade line in general is kind of all over the place. We'll have one release that come out that's like a really highly engineered one, and the next one that comes out that just kind of feels very standard, like the Zaku Warrior, for example. It's a very basic one that came out, like, and then you had like the Freedom 2.0 came out not long before that, which is a super intense design, or the Barbatos, which came out very near to that, which is a very part of it. So I mean, the master grade line already is all over the place. So yeah, Verka, are they a little bit more finicky or a little bit more overly engineered in some places? Possibly, but not to the point that I think you can like count on it for a Verka build. Like if someone says Verka, you should immediately have some assumption of it. No, I don't think so. Even even the point that I made about including decals, the early Verka kits don't include decals. So even
I was gonna say the RX and the previous
true. Yeah, that's not necessarily true for all of them either. So yeah,
awesome.
It's another thing. Just I would recommend people just don't get too worked up over it. It's just labeling. It's just slapped on the kit. Same thing like Premium Bandai, whatever. It's just a marketing. That's all it is.
So let's circle back on this one. Awesome color arrangement, especially with the light pastel color. How hard is it to achieve for someone who has not painted something of this color?
I find pastels kind of difficult to do actually, because it's hard to know how light to go on them, because you always feel like, oh, that's super light, and like this one, once I put it together, this is actually still darker than what I would have wanted. I actually would have preferred it to be even lighter, to be honest. So I find pastels a little bit tricky to do in that sense, because you can basically go like off-white with like a super tiny bit of color, and you'll still see that color right away. Like the wings, for example, you can see the bit of purple in there, because I did the surfacer, the primer was lavender on that, and
and then you went white on top of it. Oh, that's cool.
And also the panel lining was done in like a purplish gray color. I mixed some purple and gray paint through the panel lining, so there's a little bit of purple in the panel lining as well too. So like
like right here, guys. Awesome. Like you can see the hint of like purple radiating kind of from the center there.
So it's always interesting, like especially purple is a very powerful color. For example, like if you use maybe blue or something like that, it might not be quite as strong. But it only takes a really super tiny bit of color to alter your whites from being just pure white. So it doesn't take a lot.
Nice. Now let's go some fun builds here. This one is a cute one that I saw, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I wanted to include this one because I felt like this is probably one that not many people may have seen, or maybe would have forgotten about, but I actually really quite liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. Just a simple little thing here. Just modifying the Gyanko petite guy.
Yeah. And
there's another one very
the Ifrit, the rocket launcher that she's using.
Yep. That's taken from the RE Ifrit. There's another one very Machine Krieger inspired. The camo pattern and the weapons and stuff is and like the color band of the orange stripe on it. So it's all a lot of Machine Krieger inspiration with that, and the whole thing of just like mounting it on the wood block. That's all. That's a very Machine Krieger thing, So.
Nice. And also like very base, like I mean, having a base also, like this right here is probably like what, some styrene plates that you put together.
Yep. Super simple, but very effective. I think just to kind of give it some setting a little bit, right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Like
so cute. I love this one.
Yeah.
The next one here, these are the ones that I two of these I followed you painting. The G41, I remember watching you for that one, and also the new type, or the real type at the back here. Awesome work on these guys. So what do we got for this? So what are we looking at here? Those were the first two ones that I did among the four of these. The Beyond Global and Entry Grade, I didn't really do any sort of work in progress video or anything for those, because I didn't really do much modification on them, other than like on the Entry Grade, I think I just removed seam lines, and on the Beyond Global, I modified the knees by just getting rid of the just awfully ugly, weird line detail that it has on the knees of the Beyond Global. I think that was kind of the only real modification on that, though. So it wasn't really much. It wasn't too much use to make any kind of work in progress video on those when it's basically just painting. So I have a question for you for like videos that you made. Do you have like kits that, aside from the death side, like do you have kits that like you've received or bought but never have done a video for, or is there like a pile of that thing?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, most of what you see here on the shelf behind me, and then also I've got a bunch more at home too that are kits that I've not yet built yet. So can't keep up with that.
Oh man, you're good. Okay, so we talked about earlier on adding figures to the kits as part of the display. This one's another one, an awesome build, and you have a little figure here. Obviously not to scale to whatever the mecha is, but it adds that story to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's not meant to be that they're in the same scale. It's just supposed to be a representation of the pilot here, as well as a representation of the mobile suits. So they're not meant to be like, I'm not like changing the Jagan into being like 120 scale or something.
Love that band right here on the leg. It's always so cool to have that one side asymmetrical kind of like color mix.
Yeah, and the decal placement on that I quite liked as well too. That was nice. Yeah, another more Machine Krieger influence. That's a Machine Krieger figure there. So there's that. But yeah, this is another one. This is where I was really happy with the desaturated green on this one, the very light green on that. I think ended up looking very nice, much nicer than the very minty green of the Jagan originally. And
let's take a look at the figure real quick. Zoom into that. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
I have hard trouble painting figures. So like to me, every time I see someone do this kind of thing, it's like, yep, I dig it.
Yeah. Well, it's not great, but it's a pretty amateur figure painting. But I enjoy it anyway. I'm getting better at it slowly. I think a little bit, little by little. But with every figure, I think I'm getting slightly better at it. The thing I want to do with this one as well too is just try some open hatch gimmicks. So I'd seen some line art of like a artwork of the Jagan with the hatches open, so I wanted to try that with the kit. So some pretty simple modifications to just have the hatches open on this.
Upper shoulder here, the chest area.
The chest and then the leg also has an open hatch on it as well.
There we go.
So just had to cut that apart and just, mount those to be open like that because it's just one solid piece. So I had to just saw it in half basically.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And then the armor, the shield and the rifle of the Gelgoog.
Oh man,
love that Gelgoog shield.
We don't have the Gelgoog 2.0 here anymore, and I kind of regret selling mine off too, because like that shield was badass. I remember when 2.0 got released, it had the Lala figure and Char, the car figure, and the what is that raised platform, and I was like, oh yeah, I sold mine, and I was like, oh, I'll get another one. It's easy to get. Oh my god, I hate having to wait for either reprints or like just finding it online. It's like double the price because it's now rare items, right? So wow.
Yep. Yeah. The Gelgoog shield, I wish I could just get like 10 of them, 10 of those Master Grade Gelgoog shields, because they go so well with like kind of everything, and it's such a cool shield design. Like I would just put on everything if I could.
Yeah. Oh, it's
so
awesome.
If any of you guys have, especially after I moved to the US, maybe don't think about this now, but if you guys have a leftover Gelgoog shield from your Master Grade that you don't use, to send it to me. All your leftover Gelgoog shields, just give them to me. I'll use them.
Shower him with that. He's gonna do a video of it. It's a fundraising Gelgoog shield-a-thon. Here's a question.
Don't let them go to waste.
Zach, have you tried Warhammer figures? That's a question from
good question. I've not, because I'm just not into it. I just don't like that kind of stuff, minis and the kind of aesthetic of those. I know like there are
my first one.
Yeah, it's just not for me. I just have no interest in that. I'm not into so much like kind of fantasy kind of stuff like that, knights and dragons and all that kind of wizards and stuff. And I know that they have like some mechanized stuff in that series as well too, but it's just not to my taste, so probably won't see me doing any of that anytime soon. Sorry guys.
All good. The next one here, again from Kotobukiya, these ones are like the 1 to 12 scale for the frame arms, or not frame arms. They are frame arms, aren't they?
No, I mean they're not. There is a completely separate line. They in the promotional images, they'll usually show them with the frame arms kits, I think, just like for an example.
To hold them down, like weapons and all.
Are they? You have 1/12? Yeah, 1/12 scale. You're right. Yep. But no, they're just a kind of separate line. They're meant to be just kind of like real world robot kind of things. But this was one I had a lot of fun painting. Basically, again, like for this one, the whole reason was just to test out the camo masking tape. That's kind of the whole reason for that. It was a good excuse to try that. So that's a lot of times what ends up being something that I'll paint is that I'll have some reason for wanting, like I want to try out a certain painting technique, or like I want to try out some certain product or something. That's kind of the reason why I end up doing what I'm doing as far as like the painting goes. So
when you were doing a camo for this one, I get very unique colors with this is something that like I guess not your traditional earth tones or whatever per se because of like the yellow, but when you do your build up for your tape, did you go from like darker color or lighter color when you were
you start with the lighter color first, at least. I talked about this in the video for this kit. If anyone's interested, I talked about it more in detail, and you can see the actual process of me doing it. But you don't have to. I think like for camo, you could go either way. But as far as like painting goes, obviously it's much easier to paint darker colors over lighter colors than vice versa. So yeah, I painted the yellow orange first, and then one layer of masking camo, then the kind of medium brown, light brown color. And then one layer, and then the dark brown is last. But when you remove all the tape, then it gives the appearance that the dark brown is actually at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Because it's reversed because of the camo. So yeah, it's actually for me, it's kind of confusing to wrap my head around how to paint camo.
Yeah.
Because it's so like it tricks your eyes so much. It's kind of very difficult to do. But fortunately, that tape comes with an explanation of how to use it, how to do it on the back of the tape. So very easy to do.
Awesome.
So
Guys, check out that video because like I know there's a lot of people in previous ones have asked about camos. Good resource of information. Zach's work on this guy right here. Next one here, we were talking about the Machine Krieger style. Again, similar kind of like feel on this one. What are we looking at on the next couple of photos?
Yeah, this is the Krakenvogel. And so it's as far as like the painting of the suit of the girl, anyway, the character figure it's very simple. It's mostly just white, so there's nothing really special there. But I think I probably did a better job on the face with this one better than past ones. So it's kind of what I was talking about, how I think I'm getting a little bit better with every build. I think the face on this one came out pretty good, so I'm happy with that. It's hard to do something that small, 120 scale. And 120 scale is not even like that small. Some people do like 1/35 scale ones, and it's just crazy to see how detailed they can do 1/35 scale faces. It's insane to me. But where you have
there was a question earlier on about LED work. Will you ever get into LED lighting? I mean, this one has obviously an LED inside here. Are you going to be seeing more of that kind of work from you in the future?
No, probably not. LED is another thing that I just don't really care for that much. It's just very gimmicky for me. You do a lot of work putting in LEDs into a kit just basically for taking photos, and then after that you're probably never going to ever turn the LEDs on again because it's just a pain in the ass to do. So I mean, like it's just a gimmick to show off. I feel like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, some people do amazing LED work, and I think a lot of times it does look really cool in the photos. But just for me, it's just I would rather spend my time just painting more stuff. Like painting is what I enjoy.
Yeah, you're right about the face. This one definitely has a bit more human feature.
Yeah, it's difficult to do. Like skin tone is really super hard to do.
Yeah, and it's all hand paint for you on this guy?
The main skin color is airbrushed, and then everything else after that, the kind of tones and eyes and eyebrows, all that stuff is just by hand. Yeah.
Oh wow, awesome stuff. Will we see more Machine Krieger style like this in the future?
Oh yeah, totally. I really want to work on the camel. I keep referring to stuff on the shelf behind me, but I have the camel here. It's a really big one. This guy.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Will be the next one that I'll be building, but I showed you my Dachshund earlier, the one that's primed. I want to finish painting that one first before I start working on the camel. Otherwise, this is just going to continue to sit here on the side of my desk. So I keep thinking like, okay, next week I'm gonna really focus on painting that kit, and then something else comes up.
Just pops up.
So
yeah.
Maybe next week. Maybe that'll be, or this coming week. Maybe my goal will be to get the painting work done on that, because it's not just the kit itself. With that one also, I have 2 character figures with that to go actually. So I'll just kind of show you this. I haven't really talked too much about it, so you get kind of a little special preview.
Oh, nice.
I opened the hatch on its arm here. It's gonna be kind of hard to see. You can see there that lifted hatch on the inside of the forearm.
Yep.
That's not stock, not part of the kit. I just had to cut that and make it open. And so what I'm doing with that is having its arm extended out like that with the hatch open, because I'm making like a rainy scene. So like I have my 2 character figures like standing underneath there, like it's kind of shielding them, covering them from the rain.
Yeah. Are you gonna use any type of like those clear what is it called, the clear glue that dries off as if it's like, or even like clear resin to dry off that water effect?
Something. I need to do some more experimenting with it. That's one reason why I haven't finished that yet, is because I'm very nervous about making it look like proper rain. It's actually something I talked with Mike about that. I tried to get some advice from Mike about how to make something look like it's actually set in rain, and I think it's going to be kind of difficult to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off, but I'll try. So
awesome.
I need to do a couple experiments. I need to do a couple experiments, but I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. I need
couple
to
of
work
comments here from Nicholas Tiada Sanchez. Wow, I really like the weathering on that one. Love it. And that's
this one.
I think he was talking about the this guy here.
Oh yeah, that one as well too. I tried something new that I hadn't tried before of like actually, I don't know if this is the right term for it, and maybe Mike can help me out if this is not, but the reductive chipping or something where you're actually chipping the paint physically rather than like normally chipping, you're adding like with a sponge or paintbrush or whatever. But it's something that, again, I'm sure he's not the person who invented it and certainly not the only person who does it, but Max Watanabe, I know, does a lot of that actual physical chipping, and Koyokama as well too, on Machine and Krieger stuff. By actually physically
Michael
chipping.
Is saying wet rain is one of the hardest tricks to capture.
So no pressure.
Speaking of awesome stuff, continuing on, this one is a customized kit here with like lots of parts here. I see a Kotobukiya cannon. I see what is that, like the EXS almost, or like double Zeta.
Those are leftover parts from the double Zeta MG.
Yes. And then we got some thrusters here.
Yeah, this was my Trash to Treasure Tristan that took a long time to finish because I basically took like a year off in between. And this one was also inspired by Solomon Express.
Yes.
Solomon Express it's not even a light novel, it's just like a series of illustrations basically.
Yeah, it was a concept of like for a potential story, but never.
It's like I don't even know if it's even necessarily considered canon, like soft canon kind of thing. Anyway, Kevin Zhang, who's going to be one of the guest judges for our new 30 Minutes Missions contest.
Nice.
He did a really awesome build of the Solomon Express Gundam, which is amazing. If you're not familiar with that, look at his work on that. It's amazing. But I wanted to take some of the elements of that design, basically by just like the oversized armaments and stuff, oversized fuel tanks, the giant shield and the giant bazooka, very oversized for this 144 scale kit. But the inspiration for that is taken from the Solomon Express series, where they have that very oversized stuff.
Mike Skyer's like, no Twitch love tonight, y'all. Yeah, I see you. Hang on. Let's see here. Cue the Pokemon battle. Don's. Okay, we asked about that. Hang on. You can get the Charizard in the set with a Dragoneer together. Let's see here. Randy's saying that's the Ultraman Zero. So the red one for your Akira bike, they're saying it's Ultraman Zero. That's an adorable idea. Oh my god, I had so much to catch back up on. I didn't realize that you guys, because like somebody paused and I'm like, oh, okay, no one's chatting there, so I'm going over here at YouTube. Let's see here. One idea for Rain is having some glue, drip, and stretch. Do it a bunch of times and have a few long enough to hold the cloud cotton, and while the rest are random sizes. Worst case, make a diorama with functional water system and make the rain actual water and droplet form. I think that might be a little crazy. You're gonna have like some kind of like aqua system that is gonna go up with motors. I don't know if that's the most viable thing, you know. Always open both chats. Yes, Don, I see you there. Jeez.
Yeah, using actual water wouldn't work for most things, but it's 120 scale, so it's not that small. The scale of it wouldn't maybe look all that weird, but anyway.
Yeah. So to answer Don's question, I scrolled up to read something. I forgot to scroll down. That's why the chat was paused, and I was like, how come no one's chatting? Now we're at real time again. So ask away, Twitch. What do you got? What are you looking at here? Next one here. Again, very like one of those like MSV colors for the Gelgug here.
Yeah. Yeah, this one was again just talking about Max Watanabe. This was an attempt to try his kind of signature style of basically like you paint a splattering of bright colors down first underneath your main colors, and then it gives you kind of varied kind of more interesting color tone underneath your main colors. So like you see little bits of that kind of variation. So it's kind of like weathering. Just through the process of just painting the kit, you already kind of have your weathering kind of built in because of the process of how it's painted. So most of, if this looks weathered at all, it's basically just through the painting of it actually.
Nice.
So that was a really interesting process. My first attempt at trying that painting style. It's not an easy painting style to master, obviously, but it's the first attempt at that. And I was not sure how it was going through most of the process, but the end result, I'm actually pretty happy with it. It came out looking pretty cool, but I'm definitely looking forward to trying the technique more again later in the future.
And this kit is one of those the older kits, right? Like the re-release from the 80s version. What scale is this one? Is it the 160 or is it the 100?
Yeah, it's a 100. Yep.
Okay. Nice. Classic. Okay, now we have some Xseed. Shout out to Ryan Lau if he's there. I remember him doing his Xseed head, and I think he plays second on the clean side of clean versus weather.
Yep.
Awesome stuff. All right.
Yeah, I've painted a couple of these. This one, the only modification I think I made to this was just adding the lines, those like strips. It's just strips of popplate added around on the head. That's a design feature of the hard graph kit. That's not on the Exceed kit, but I liked that feature of the hard graph kit, so I wanted to put that here on the Exceed head, which I think is there basically to be as like a rain shield. So like when it's raining, the rain isn't falling right in front of the mono eye. It's kind of
it's just in front
it's
of
a cool,
it. Yeah,
cool design feature. Yeah, that I wanted to add here onto this one, and then obviously then that's a 1/35 scale character figure, which the Zaku heads I don't think are in exactly 1/35 scale. I think they're kind of close to that.
Yeah, most people just say
exactly
they're
what the scale
135,
is.
but I don't think they are like an exact 100. They were obviously not the scale, but like, yeah, if you're putting it side by side with something like 135, it's pretty close to it. Awesome stuff. I love the color scheme as well on this one. Again, very rare to see like a Zaku in like a non-military-esque color. Like, you know, you usually see them with like either the green, the dark ones, and all that. So, question here from you from Hobbyworks Randy. Zach, do you have any whip or finished builds that you were almost done, then scrap the whole thing and work on it differently from zero?
There's one resin like garage kit character figure, that I had like almost done, and now I had almost finished it, and then I now dunked half the kit in a stripper, and I just stripped it back down. I need to I'm just like basically going to completely repaint it. But for like mecha models or something, I don't know, not really. I don't think so. Nothing where I've gotten that far along in the process and then given up. Like if it's something that I've put to the side, it's pretty early on in the process probably. Nice. Or at least before painting. If I can get to painting, then I'm probably gonna then finish the kit. I don't have anything that like I've painted and not finished.
That's cool. See, again, guys, finish your builds. Just press forward, then you could work on the next kit, right?
Yep. They're to
comment
be
here.
Finished, then to be perfect.
Absolutely. Comment here from Ryan Lau, who's actually still watching. Hey, Ryan. I love how you're always challenging yourself, trying new paints and techniques. Rinaldi's also saying that, it's very motivating. So keep at it, Zach. We're, again, looking forward to your next builds, because like all of these so far that I've seen tonight, amazing. And some of them I miss, and I'm kind of like, I want to go back and watch your videos and how you did it, because like I missed some of them, but I've seen some of the other ones too. But like, wow, I want to see that thought process, because like, when you're doing your live, you kind of like, well, this is not connecting properly, and then sometimes you're like, oh, okay, this is how you connect it. Again, very inspirational and motivational. Dan, thank you for sharing this. Continuing on, the Zaku, this one has like some weird proportions. What are we looking at here?
I hate the Zaku FZ design. So this was actually probably my least favorite RE100 kit. Solid kit. I mean, actually, as far as the kit goes, like objectively, it's good. Just that I personally don't like the design of it at all. So I wanted to do something with it, and so I had the idea of, I had done before mixing like an SD head and an HG, but I wanted to try a 100 scale kit, giving it an SD head, a little bit different proportions, not quite as extreme, but that was what I did with this one, and it still ends up looking pretty weird. I don't know if it really came out looking all that cool, but I mean, I did my best with that. I think it came out cool enough, but it's still just pretty odd looking, weird looking. But I mean, it's just very subjective.
It's such a different like perspective. I mean, a proportion, because like the chest area alone has like that weird boxy thing. But you took out the mid portion of this to shrink it down a little, right?
Yep. Yeah, the midsection is shortened, the biceps and the thighs are all shortened quite a bit. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hopefully for those of you guys that are thinking of mix and matching your SD to a high grade or even a master grade, check this one out. Looking fantastic. Now, speaking of hotness, this I did watch because I have my own Asuka at the back, and I was thinking of recoloring it. And it's funny that because like when you built yours, and I watched a review on that one, and I was like, my favorite of this one is the orange plastic mold with the skin underneath, because you have the translucent awesome orange, and then you have the skin underneath. Then you said, oh, I'm gonna repaint it. I'm like, are you gonna touch the skin? Because it looks really cool. And when I saw what you did on it, I was like, great and orange, awesome stuff. Let's talk about the Labo figurize.
I mean, obviously the clear parts is like the main focus of the kit, so it'd be a total shame. I think you could paint it opaque. I mean, you could make a cool Asuka figure, but it'd feel such a shame to paint over those clear parts. Yeah, totally. So no, the inspiration actually, I'd seen someone on Twitter, and I forget his Twitter handle now. Sorry to say, I mentioned it in the video of that. So if you're interested, go back and watch the video. I'd seen him on Twitter who painted it with a white suit, and it looked really cool. And so I wanted to do that. So I was thinking, I want to try that. And then I thought, well, it should not do an exact copy in white. So I thought, how about do it in black? So it's the colors were taken basically from like Ray's black plug suit from I think 2.0. Ray has the black plug suit. So the colors were inspired by those colors of that suit. And so did like the kind of purple shine that you see on there is like a prism paint that's like oversprayed on top of the black there. So it's not it's just like with the Mark V that I did just recently. The black is not black, it's just a super dark blue, almost black, and then there's like a prism purple paint, like painted lightly over the top of that to give it that kind of purple shine.
That's so cool. That's like a post detailing, if anything.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yes.
Danger.
Good touch, Zach. This is awesome. Oh wow. So let's talk about this line again. It's becoming more and more awesome, because like I remember seeing the first couple of ones. I believe it was the Build Fighters. What's her name?
Fumina
was one of the first ones. It was like the swimsuit edition of that one, and then there was the next one for this one was hair music singer Miku. My brain is just like dying now. But do you see more figures coming out from this line? I know it's still kind of like an early line. I think they just crossed like what 1 year, 1.5 year for it.
Yeah, maybe 2 years. I don't know. I hope so. I enjoyed the line quite a bit, even though like Asuka is really the only the first character. You also left out there was a Love Live character in there as well too, which I forget the name for. But I don't really care about any of the characters really all that much, to be honest. And even Asuka's, I love Evangelion, but Asuka's, I'm not like a Asuka super fan or something like that. But kind of the first character that I at least like sort of was interested in the character. But I just love the line. It's a really cool line because it's like being able to build like resin garage kit, but like easy mode version of that, because it's not resin, it's just plastic. So they're great to build, super easy, and like really easy to paint as well too. So if you want just like a pretty easy kit to build, you don't have any of the issues that you would normally have to deal with from resin, fitting issues and all that kind of stuff.
Put a new model out, what figure would you like to see them do?
I think doing one of Lala would be really cool. Lala Sin from OG Gundam. I think that would be a really cool one as far as like Gundam characters. I don't know. I'm a big fan of just like the character design of Hachikuji Maoi. From what's that series? I can remember. It's another one where I have no familiarity with the series at all. It's just a cool character design. I like. Someone help me out about what series it's
on the chat.
or Dragon Ball. I would love to see a Bulma one as well too. Would be pretty cool because you get like super detail with like lots of little parts for all her little stuff, all the color apps and stuff on like a Bulma kit would be cool.
Nice.
And that's a Bandai. At least Bandai has like the rights to do Dragon Ball stuff, obviously. So they already have that settled.
Nice. This one here we use as the main image. This is the mobile suit Jin, one of the newer MGs released this year. Obviously, battle damage galore on this one. I think this is like one of the most extensive battle damage I've seen from your work. Let's talk a little bit about this project here.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of the most like physical damage I've ever done on a kit. And so this one, it's a canon design from one of the mangas. So I had just seen there's only like 2 images of this kit that exists, or of the design that exist that I could find online. So I didn't have much to go off of for that, but just based on the 2 images that I could find. I had to try to match the color scheme and try to match the damage kind of as best I could. It's just from
Let's just circle back real quick. Delta Saber JB over here at Twitch, he's saying it's Bakemonogatari.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Also,
Monogatari. Yes.
Yeah, a couple of comments I'm just gonna read off here. Dawn, all the way from Germany. Before I gonna go get some sleep, it's 6 a.m. here. Holy crap! Good morning to you. I want to thank Zach for all the time he and the rest spend for commenting on all entries in clean versus weathered. I took my CNC and will hopefully learn from it. Good night. Have a great rest of the stream and video. Zaku2 FZ flashbacks to 0080. You all know which scene. Oh man. Also, from the YouTube line here, Nicholas is saying, love Dragon Balls. Bulma with the time machine would be dope. That is from Gunpla Joey. Lol, it was my TV acting up. Oh, Ronaldo saying my mic was cracking up. I've gone through every single thing to make sure that this show doesn't F up, because like my last stream, oh my god, I wanted to shoot my computer. Have you ever had that, like crazy technical issues when you were going live and just going like, ah?
No, not really. I had, I think it was like the last or recently, I've done a couple of like gaming live streams, not very much, but just a couple of them that I've done so far, like playing Genshin Impact. And on one of the streams recently, I couldn't figure out what the audio problem was. The audio was not coming out to the computer. And after like 40 minutes, I finally figured out what it was. It was the mute, or not mute, but like the silent mode switch on my phone had to be on or off in order for like the game audio to come out. So,
oh man, yeah. Sorry, let's get back to this one. The Jin, actually the color on this one reminds me of the aquatic. I forgot the mobile suit's name. It's the one where the red frame actually took it and wore it as like a camo, so like it's swimming inside the carcass of one. Yeah. So awesome stuff. What do you think of the Jin, by the way? Like overall,
cool kit.
like
very. It's another one like the ZakuAurelius, a very simple master grade, but very really nicely detailed. It's kind of like it's like on the border of RE100 or full mechanics and master grade. It's right between there. Pretty simple as far as master grades go, but very detailed, like the full mechanics line.
I'm doing a collaboration with the Saintism, and we're doing our own versions of the Jin. I'm glad you did one too, and super bad. Ours is just gonna be like just a repaint. And I'm doing the Miguel custom on mine. But let's talk about the battle damage on yours. Like, what kind of tools or like techniques did you apply to achieve these battle damage areas, like blown off armor plates here? Looks really cool, by the way. It looks very realistic.
Oh, thank you. And I just want to say as well too, just real quick, that I need to leave here pretty soon. So wrap up maybe after talking about this one.
Sure. Sounds good.
That was done just initially, just kind of initial cuts were just like with a saw. So just it's all done with a router, a router that I have, and so just using a saw blade attachment on the router first to just cut the main pieces away. And then using like a grinding attachment to then like make it look like it's like actually blown away or melted away, rather than just like saw cut. So then it's just cool. Nothing really too much more to it really. I think probably I then also just laid a bunch of like simple cement on it, just like Tamiya extra thin cement, because that basically kind of melts the plastic as well too. The plastic is meant to look like it's melted from like a laser blast, right? So you can you can do the same thing by just melting it with glue, sort of, just to give it look like, so you don't have like lots of little bits, so everything's just like kind of melted flat in a way, but kind of melted down. And then I was painting it with a bunch of different colors. I don't know, like I said, it's my first time really doing that, so still just kind of like a awesome first attempt, but I agree. I'm happy with how it came out. Pretty good.
Nice. And I know we're becoming into the time sensitive. Again, thank you so much for doing this. I have a couple of questions here that I want to read off. Maybe we could just fire off some stuff. We'll probably put in maybe like 10-15 minutes left on the show. From Instagram, earlier on, I asked them to submit some of the questions. Two of them I know we covered already, but there were some stuff that we did not cover, so I'm just going to pull that up real quick here. Let's see here from Mike S. Mike Silbor. Have you ever discussed Gundam and Gunpla with Mecha Gokatsu? If not, when and podcast?
No, I never have. I've talked to a lot of people in the community.
Yeah.
That's one that I've never had any conversation with. Not
Hmm.
on purpose. It's just never happened. Yeah.
All right, maybe something for the future. Let's see here from Gunpla Joey. Oh, we talked about like how many kits that you were gonna. Yeah, that's the same thing, Joey. I was gonna ask your question anyway. This guy.
Mm.
Let's see here. Oh, it's the same one too. So the question was like, how do you get into YouTube? Game. Wait, how did you get into the YouTube game, and what was the inspiration for ZakuAurelius? Can we talk? Actually, I'm going to modify the question. ZakuAurelius. Let's talk about that name. How did you
Sure.
come up with that name, and what's the origin for it?
Yeah, well, my name is Zach. So in Japanese, it's Zaku. And the spelling of my name in Japanese is slightly different from Zaku, as in like the mobile suit Zaku.
Mhm.
But like my friends in Japan, Japanese friends there know that I was like well into Gundam. So they just call me Zaku. They're just like the mobile suit, not the name, but it's almost the same anyway. So just like a
Yeah.
nickname. Just calling me like the mobile suit instead of rather than my actual name, just slightly different pronunciation. And so that's that. I mean, it's just a reference to Gundam, obviously, and my name is Zach, so Zaku, Zach, and Zaku. And then Aurelius just comes from Marcus Aurelius, as we talked about earlier. I'm big into Stoicism, so Marcus Aurelius, obviously one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors. So it's much less to do with the fact that he's a Roman emperor, but just the fact that he's a Stoic philosopher. That's it.
Let's go with the emperor on this one. Zach is out to rule the world, and that's what's going to be doing through Plamo and Plamo. Yep, we're almost done. Just a couple of questions here. I guess for people that are trying to get into YouTube, again, with your experience on that one, what are like maybe a couple of advice you would say to people that are just trying to get into it, or like starting up their channel, or even improving their channel if they're already started?
Yeah, sure. I would say well, number one is just to focus on the content. Trying to make good content, interesting content. So not only like the information in the video, like what you're saying and what you're talking about and like what subject matter you're covering, but I mean like the content, the quality of like the lighting, camera, and all that stuff as well. Editing too. Like don't be afraid to make cuts. See some people putting out like a video where it's just like one long take where they could have like they're talking about a kid and then they have to like fix a part, like an arm fell off or something, they have to put it back on. Like you can just cut that out of the video. Just like edit a little bit. So just just try to focus a little bit on the quality. But again, my channel is a perfect example that it doesn't have to be like amazing quality. As long as it's like good enough, then people can watch it. But if it's like unwatchable, like terrible audio or something like that, then
audio, lighting, and all that,
immediately turned off to it. So just focus on the quality first, and then try to do something different. Don't just do like the same thing, because then if you're just doing the same thing as 15 other channels, then there's not much point to watching your channel. Like I do a lot of the same things that other people do, but then I also do other stuff as well too that other people don't do. I try to kind of mix it up a lot. So do something unique that can set your channel apart. And then aside from just that, all about content creation, just about like the grind of just doing YouTube. Just try not to burn yourself out or worry too much about it, and also like don't expect anything, I think, as well too. Like have goals, things that you want to like work towards, but don't like expect that you're going to be able to turn it into a full-time job in a year, or don't expect that you're going to try to reach 10,000 subs by the end of this month or something like that. Just focus on just making stuff, and people will enjoy what you're doing. People will respond if it's obvious that like you have passion for what you're doing, like you're doing what you like and you're sharing that because you actually have a passion for what you're doing. People respond much more to that than if you're just like pushing out content that you have no like interest in, you're not really all that invested in. People can tell that. People are pretty intuitive about that. I can sense. So if you're just very obviously just being yourself and talking about the things that you love, and you're interested in it, and people will be interested in watching you be interested in what you're interested in.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for that advice, guys. Take that to heart. Like you might learn something by just investing in yourself as well, focusing on what you like to do, and just keep at it. Couple last couple of things here. We were talking about contests earlier on. I know you did several ones in the past that are very, very successful. Up and coming 30-minute missions is the new one you announced on Friday over at the USA Gundam Store. and your morning Fridays. So can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe just kind of synopsis and what people can do to enter.
Yeah, just real briefly. I mean, I just go check out the video on my channel. I have the full explanation of that, all about how to enter and everything. But it's just 30 minutes missions, custom contests. So basically, the main thing is that you're only allowed to use 30 minutes missions parts. So just make some cool customs using 30 minutes missions parts. They have a ton of parts available, so there's lots of stuff to work with. There's going to be a painted and unpainted categories. So even if you don't want to fully paint, and some people have had some questions since my release of that video, so I will probably do probably tomorrow on Monday, I'll put out another just a little short video answering some of the questions that people have had about that. So if you've asked questions, I will answer them. If I've not answered them already, I will answer them in a video. So just make sure that you guys check out the video tomorrow.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. I know we've crossed the 3-hour mark, and I told Zach that we're going to probably look around 2 hours. I think that's nope. And I do apologize for the overtime here. But Zach, thank you so much for doing this. Again, perfect way to end the season, I think, with someone like you. Very intuitive, very creative. Love your content, and hopefully you guys are following it. For people that want to follow you, obviously, like, you know, where can we find you in your socials? Maybe just drop a couple of your lines and your links.
No, yeah, sure. I mean, just YouTube is the main thing, but you know, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, I would recommend following my pages on there as well too. Just because it might be a good way to just kind of not miss anything. You know, if it's stuff that's not for like YouTube videos and stuff. So follow me there as well too, and follow the USA Gundam Store pages as well too to keep up with, like you said, the shows that I do there with Adam, the USA Gundam TV channel, and you won't miss the live streams that we do, because we do giveaways every 2 weeks when we do those episodes as well too. So if you want to enter into those, and you know, even aside from the giveaway, I think it's also interesting content what we talk about over there. Adam has a lot of good insights as far as like the business community.
Oh, absolutely.
And Gunpla shop as well too. So pretty cool.
Awesome. Okay, last words for your audience tonight. If you want to say something before we let you go.
Yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Like I said there at the start, a lot of friendly faces, a lot of friends of mine there in the chat. So thank you guys all for coming to hang out, and everyone else too as well. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for watching, and all your normal viewers, you know. Thank you guys for tuning in.
No, thank you. Zach, you could stay for a bit after the show to chat, but if you gotta go, all good. Maybe I'll connect with you again. But yeah, I'm just gonna do a little bit of outro for them. Guys, give it up for Zach, ZakuAurelius. Don't forget to follow his channels. Everything, the link is below, and we will catch him again soon. Zach, looking forward to chatting with you again. So hopefully in the future, maybe we could do a collab again.
Sure.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Zach, thanks. Bye. All right, so that is the wrap up for season 3 Spotlight. Zach, aka ZakuAurelius, give him a look-see in all of his social. The links are all in the description below of this YouTube. But before we do go, let's play some tribute to what powers our show here. Don't forget, guys, for my Canadian friends, MSMN Studio, Gunpla Studio, check them out if you're looking for Gunpla, Mecha, materials and all that in between. Check out msmnstudio.com, and they are located in Montreal, but they ship across Canada. And obviously, big thank you to USA Gundam Store. Visit them at usagundamstore.com for all your Gunpla needs, mecha modeling, figures, books by Michael Rinaldi. See you there on the chat. If you're into weathering, learn so much from his books. Ed's book is out. Volume 1 is out. Don Serratis' book, Machina, is out. And also, if you're looking for decals, Mecha decals by the one and only child of Mecha, Tim Harkins, is also available at USA Gundam Store. Visit them and save with my discount code, AOMecha10. All right, so that is it for me, guys. Thank you for tuning in. What an amazing season 3. This has been a wonderful guest. Big thank you to everybody. Big thank you to people that are on the chat, both on YouTube and on Twitch. We'll catch you guys soon. And hopefully, again, season 3 finale. Season 4 will be airing probably towards end of August, early September. It's the time slot. I'm going to be taking 2 months off, I think, just to work on some new stuff. But for everybody that's on the chat tonight, you are entered into a draw for a gift certificate from both our the sponsors that I mentioned, MSMN Studio and USA Gundam Store. This Monday,
Monday is also our backlog builder season finale episode. So I think there's 2 more episodes on that. So catch me on there Mondays and Wednesdays here. But again, thank you to our guests, Zach. Thank you to everybody on YouTube and on Twitch. I will catch you guys in the next season. But for now, Spotlight is complete. That is season 3, and we're out. All right, guys. Till next time, take it easy.